Here's a message of importance to millions of people who are continually pale and washed out, weak and run down. Doctors will tell you that these conditions are often caused by a deficiency of iron. The iron you need to keep you physically fit and mentally alert. Medical studies show that 2 out of 3 women and many, many men lack the daily iron your body requires, in a form your body can easily use and put to work. Every dose gives you more than your daily minimum iron requirement.
We are awake, we are awake, we are not alone. We are striving for more.
So if you're not getting the iron your body needs,
we are awake.
if you feel weak, run down, and are easily upset, start taking Ironworx today.
It's Friday, my dudes.
Happy Friday, my friend.
Thank God it's Friday.
TGIF to you all. Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to Have No Sphere right here on Ironworx Media. We're on YouTube, Rockfin, D-Live, Facebook, probably Twitter. Shit, I don't even know. I'm just a little off my beat this afternoon because I slept through the show this morning. I had a killer headache, and luckily the fellas called an audible, and I slept through it. So usually I'm in show mode already, and I just kind of exist on show mode on Friday, but having not entered show mode, I'm trying to get into it now. So it's a little bit like 4 a.m. for me right now, so you'll have to excuse me. We've got a really good, exciting show for you. We have a returning guest, as you may have guessed. Paul on the Plane's going to be joining us a little bit later here, just in just a few minutes, I think. In the meantime, let's say hello to everybody, starting off with some of the fellas I didn't talk to this morning. How about Walt Johnson? You might know him from his... My camera keeps shutting off. I don't fucking care. You might know him from
I'm
his...
having trouble too, man. I don't know if it's Zoom or...
It's got to be Zoom. If your camera's not staying on and mine's not staying on, it's got to be a...
something going on. Everything suddenly is jerky. And... Well, good day, sir. I'm sorry you had a rough morning. Definitely. We figure something must be up. You must be there. If you're not there, something's up. It's definitely not good news usually.
It's not often I do a no call, no show.
No, exactly. So we figured it was either bunny related or otherwise. So let it, chill and let it. And it kind of it's amazing how used to a routine you get, because my whole day has been fun as well. Totally off. Nothing felt exactly right today. So, but I did catch a tiny nap. We had some storms. They seem to be gone for now, but looking at the radar, they may come back through again. So if I suddenly disappear, if it wasn't me just leaving mad, I'll be back when my storm stops at some point. But right now, things are good. But yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready. Excited about tonight. Haven't talked to this gentleman in way too long. As I was looking for things to add to the little promo I made, it was lots of flashbacks. Need to catch up.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's going to be a good one. So let's move on over and say hello to Mr. Zachary Zabala. You might know him from his channel, Good Times for All. Here on YouTube. Zach, how are you doing, sir?
Hey there, Josh. Hey, Walt, Cammy, everybody. Yeah, I can't say I had a bad day. Didn't get a whole lot done. Got up early and I drank that coffee, Walt. So I was up till probably about 10. And I caught me a little nap. And
I did the same thing. Why didn't you just text me back? We could
I
have
know,
done
I should.
some shoots in. Yeah, I finished the coffee because it was so good. It was hitting just right. It was it was that perfect balance that you hit sometimes where it's like, damn, that's good. And I hated it wasted. And yeah, once I finished
I was tossing and turning last night as well, Josh. I didn't have a migraine or anything that bad, but something was in the air or something. I just couldn't.
Yeah, Shell too.
sleep
She
right.
said the same thing. She didn't sleep at all. And when my clock went off, as I told Zach this morning, oh man, I wish we'd have called this last night. I sure could have slept in. I was feeling it this morning, which is rare, even when I only get an hour or two.
That
The
darn
knowledge of the
airplane mode.
show and the knowledge of a nap coming, usually gets me up and I'm ready to go. But man, when that clock went off, it was just no, this is not happening. So, and I put my alarm on, went back I got me a recliner and set it to the quarter till, catch a little, and then do that coffee, and that was it. I was up there. But anyway, there's another lovely lady here. Let's stop rambling and get her in here.
There is. Before we do, I want to give a quick shout out to Billy Zig, who's just now rising for the day, because I do believe it is morning time down there on the Outer Rim. So big shout out and thanks for the super chat, $5 Australian super chat there from Billy Zig. Much appreciated. And another one, US from Globebusters. Many thanks, Bob. And since we are there, let's just go ahead and say hello to Mrs. Cammy Nodell. You might know her from her channel, Ageling717. Cammy, how are you, my dear?
Oh, doing really good. I also this morning, I missed you this morning. Could not sleep last night. Got to bed like after 3 o'clock in the morning, was just laying there and kind of in a drowse, but it's like at 5 o'clock was looking, they're not there. It took me until like 5:15 in the morning to realize that you weren't just going to be late, which usually doesn't. The morning years, I forget the mornings aren't like the afternoons. You guys are timely then, and I forget if it doesn't happen, it's not going to. So, but no, it's been a good day. There was a message with that super chat, an all important message. Did you want to read that for us, Josh, from Globebusters?
Oh, this is the one from Globebusters. There's actually 2 messages. Billy left a message on his too. I'm such a dick. Anyway, it says, Paul on the realm, !
He was certain that's what we should call the show tonight, that we messed up. You need to make a new thumbnail. And this is, again, Globebusters. He's good at titles, but just to let you know, this is what this is about.
Right,
this is our show title should be. We're going to make that happen right now.
And the Billy Ziggs message was, today is going to be a great day. I just know it. God bless good people. So a big shout out there to Billy Zig. Have a great day out there.
Damn straight. And good morning.
Billy was something this afternoon, or maybe before I lay down. Something. What's I'm looking at? Sorry, I'm rambling. I'm looking at my history.
Working on getting that title done. We've lost Walt. Well, we do have Paul joining us. It should be coming up in about 25 minutes.
I'm sorry. I left you hanging. Yes, I'm sorry.
Oh.
Yes. Paul
Come back in.
Here. Yes, I'm here.
Is your mic away from you, Walter?
It very much is. You're right, sir. I am so sorry. I was busy doing many things and had not actually maneuvered it over here into my grill tool area. Now that it's grill adjacent.
There we go. Now we got the what's the word? High fidelity. We got all the different vibrations coming out of Walter.
You need all this sexiness.
you know, Walt, I was going to say I got you covered before you started talking about that G area, but
as opposed to just the spot.
Josh, we need to get Paul a link. He is in chat looking for a link.
Oh, I should have sent it to him on Skype, but I can.
He can't find it.
Okay, I will shoot it on Skype again, maybe.
So see, I am looking at chat. I just have yet to start typing to the chat because, you know, that requires 2 brain cells to rub together. Right now, I can't find one. Speaking of brain cells, what's up, Mike? I see you, brother.
So did you guys catch David's video today about the giant trees on flat Earth?
I thought he sent me a video I watched, maybe, about that. What was it I saw?
It was pretty cool. It was a short one. Well, I remembered something I saw like a couple weeks ago. It was this guy cutting into a tree and just this water pouring out. And I was like, hey, wait a minute. You know, what if that is what created the floods? They cut down all these giant trees and all this water that was stored in the trees came out. And so I went looking. I found like 5 different videos of people cutting down trees. And then one was they didn't even cut it down. It was over 4 minutes of water just pouring out of this tree like a fountain spout. 4 minutes. And they cut it off and it was still pouring out. They didn't sit there and wait to see how long it would be. That looked like it was like in a rainforest somewhere.
How do I not know this?
I know. I've seen so many trees cut down. I know people who cut down trees.
Logging, right. When I was a very early teen, I helped my Uncle Quentin log many quarter pine. So and I mean, I know that's pine and that's different, but still we had to cut other trees down, other types of trees to clear, and never had an excessive rush of water. Of course, we don't live in the rainforest. It might have something to do with the aquifer below or something.
And it was crazy because if you think of it like the Devil's Tower, as if that were a tree trunk and it was cut there, how far is the Grand Canyon away from there? Is it real far? I know that's in Wyoming, but Wyoming's part of the Grand Canyon National Park, right?
No, not at all.
I'm sure it's not even close to right. Thank you, Kimmy.
You're like a lot of states in the Rocky Mountains.
You're shoving a few states together there, Zach.
It's a problem.
I was thinking Colorado was Wyoming. Yeah. No, so
Colorado,
it's
you
real
have
far away.
Yeah, you have to get through Colorado and the Rocky Mountains to get between the two of them. And,
I don't know.
And Utah, even, or again, New Mexico too. But you have the Four Corners where they meet, and I've been there. But that's a little bit. And the giant tree that you're talking about, Devil's Tower, that is not in an area of Wyoming that's particularly close to Denver either. I mean, that's quite a bit over in Wyoming, over up
the eastern side.
It's on the eastern side, but it's quite a bit north. I mean, it's not towards Colorado. It's definitely towards the other.
Yeah, it's closer to Dakotas, isn't it?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, the Badlands and all that stuff.
Black Hills, Bighorn Mountains, Grand Tetons, all of them. My favorite spots up there.
Right.
Yep.
The Badlands and all that stuff.
But that's fun. This is fun way doing the things, looking at all of the interesting things. I don't know. I've never cut a tree and I've gotten water either. That does not mean that it never ever happens and doesn't in these particular.
I'm sure.
But what it makes is
if we shared a couple of these, they're real quick.
I think you'd love it.
A lot of them are the minute ones.
I love all of the uniqueness and beauty that this realm has to offer, and how many different things that are out there. And again, have not seen this, but it sounds fascinating. And I am with you, Walt, that I've been around cut trees and that it hasn't happened. It doesn't mean that it cannot happen.
Right. It doesn't mean it doesn't happen. It's just something
but
I've
it's
not
when
experienced.
Yeah, I had seen one and I was like, okay, well, that's just one. Maybe I found one tree. I forget where it's at. Oh, I'll have to find it again. It was pretty famous.
Well, I do remember.
Hold on. When it rains real heavy, all the natural springs flood around there, and water starts pouring out of this tree trunk like 5 feet up above the ground. It's just like a fountain pouring out of this tree trunk where it splits.
I could see it working like a straw or a different vortex system in that with an aquifer underneath there.
That's what I was thinking.
And then you would see mineralization and stuff going on with it. Again, I'm waiting for you to show it.
Time. It's not just like a once in a while thing. Oh, I dropped it in chat, one of the videos.
Well, who's going to play it? Am I supposed to play it, or is Walt going to play it?
I can do
Josh?
it here in a second. Yep, I can do it.
I want to see these.
But
I'm
do
fascinated.
remember when the tree thing hit, when no trees on flat Earth hit, and everybody started going, huh, and working through it and trying to figure things out. And someone put out the video about those tall plateau areas with giant waterfalls that really no one can explain exactly how the fuck that water gets up there. It defies gravity, it defies physics, it defies every fucking thing we are taught. And yet the water flows endlessly. So if you turn those giant plateaus into trees and the system of roots and all that are still sucking water up, then there you go. So amplify that out to gazillions of giant trees all of a sudden getting wiped out. I don't know. That seems like such a gradual thing that would be a lot of trees getting hit at once, all at the same time. Hey, don't do that. Stop, we're flooding the place. I don't know. It just seems like the flood event was a little more sudden.
Montenegro is the place where the tree. I'll get that one. It's only a minute 32.
All right, let me throw this one up here real quick.
Is that Paul?
That'd be Paul.
I'm going to let him in.
Oh, I think I beat you to it.
I said I did.
Oh, good job.
Oh. Hello?
He's still probably got to connect his audio, but he's definitely there.
Am I doing the tree? Tree or no tree?
I see no tree.
Am I doing the tree? That's the question.
I see nothing from you, Walt.
I know.
I see Paul.
I'm not doing it.
Do you hear us, Paul?
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Testing.
sir.
One,
There's that dude.
2, 3.
Beautiful.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
How are you doing, sir?
Oh, probably better than I deserve.
What a great answer. The one I love to give.
I'm super blessed. I've been great. Super grateful. I'm just try to remain humble. We're living some crazy times, but it's all about your perspective, I guess.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah. How are you guys all doing? It's so good to hear your voices again.
What's up, brother? Good to hear you. Good to see you. I'm trying to get to my controls here.
Yeah, I got to pop on for a second at least.
I know, right? What's up, brother?
As long as we can. As long as Zoom will allow it. Zoom's been shutting off our cameras randomly and sporadically.
Hey, Zach.
Hey, Paul. What's going on, brother?
Hey, Paul.
Hey, Cammy. Walt.
Hey.
What's up, man? I don't know what's going on with his camera.
I'm taking off these glasses. It's getting a bad glare on the... Because they're just looking at my screen in reverse.
I just want to say I hate you, Paul. You just, with your short time on the show, put an earworm in my ear. Oh, Lord, it's hard to be humble. I don't know if I aged myself with that, but I've got Josh laughing. But no, I don't want to hear that going off in my head. Josh, you'd have to sing it for you if you could. But is that like Conway Twitty or what?
That would be Mr. Mac Davis.
Mr. Mac Davis. Oh, thank you. Well, you're right. It was Mr. Mac Davis. A fabulous, fabulous show. If you're too young to remember it, I suggest you go to YouTube for the classics and
great show. Great song, great show. He was an all-around entertainer. Good Lord, I can't talk. I'm gonna drink some more.
It was the 70s version of an Alex Stein song, but things were a little bit mellower there.
So what has been going on, Paul? What have you been up to since you stepped away from...
Oh, geez. The show's not long enough. I know you guys go on and on and on for hours.
We can make it long enough, buddy.
No. No, it would be too boring, too. I'll try and condense it into 30 seconds. Let's see. Still working. You know what? I started focusing on family and friends and doing some stuff here in my community. And I don't know. I was talking to, you guys know Billy Ray Valentine. I know Josh. Yes. I know you and Walt do. Zach, Cammy and Zach, you guys probably do too. I met him when I was on Truth Frequency Radio, and so we chat every once in a while, and maybe he's listening. I told him I was going to be on the show today. He said he might tune in. Anyway, but we were talking, and he was asking me kind of the same stuff. He's like, so what have you been up to? Because it had been, it's probably been 6 months since he and I connected, and And I said, I was just kind of in a transition phase, end of 2019. It just had nothing. I mean, I did not see all these crazy times coming like anybody else, but it was the end of 2019. I was like, I'm just changing my focus. Like you said, Zach, kind of like just step back from making a ton of content like I was doing for a number of years, and just I had some stuff I had to take care of, and it was mostly like personal stuff, So I wanted to focus on that and the family, and so I did. And then everything shut down here in the state of Washington, and so I loaded everybody up in the RV and we went to Florida because it was open. And we spent a couple months down there in the summer of 2020. Decided to buy a home there because, think of our perspective back in the summer of 2020, right? We didn't know how long was this thing going to last? States were, here in Washington, there was even like a shelter in place order. The governor was like, you need to stay home. And people were staying home because they were told to stay home.
I was up in Oregon during the offset of all this crazy.
Yeah,
I was right there.
Oregon
with you,
was the Oregon, same thing.
The Oregon governor was losing her fucking mind. Dude.
Yeah, the Washington governor is not far behind.
Right, and I know you're right up there. Something in that northeast,
the northwest,
man, it's pretty crazy thinking sometimes. But yeah,
that was one of the things
going on there. Yeah, and still, I hear things are pretty insane.
Shelter in place.
It's crazy.
So at that point in our lives, we were like, Florida was open, and we go down there all the time anyway. We got friends and family there and that sort of thing. And then with everything that was going on with Washington, we were like, I guess this is the time to, maybe do some transitioning in that regard. And so we ended up buying a place there. And the cool thing is my father-in-law lives there full time. I'm in Washington now. We enjoy the summers here, a little bit cooler than Florida this time of year.
Oh yeah,
but
slightly.
Don't have we don't have that humidity. But so then I spent a lot of 2021 was just working on the new place, and I had it was old and outdated, so we got a lot of work done on it. So I was there for a lot of last year. This year, just focusing on family and home stuff, because we were just kind of going back and forth so much in 2021. We kind of slowed down a little bit more this year. And then got a couple of businesses I'm trying to get off the ground. I'm trying to transition some stuff professionally, and it's just life. I don't know. It's just the kids are big. I got one left the teenage years in her 20s now. I got one that's almost 18. My youngest turned 6. Just time is flying by now, man. It's just absolutely flying by. And I don't like that. I don't like it. I can't believe we're talking about the, it's what are we at now? 2.5 years now since they tried to shut everything down on us. That just flew by. It seemed like.
Yeah. Yeah, and it seemed like it just happened not that long ago too, like the start of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Now we're starting to really see the repercussions of all of that happened in 2020, when it comes to the economy.
Well, I think you're a pretty smart guy. You know all this stuff about the Federal Reserve and how printing billions of dollars every month, what that's going to actually do. Because we had high gas prices not that long ago. It was up $4.50, almost $5 some places. And we didn't see this crazy inflation go on. Yeah, they've been printing money since 2012, just like it's water coming out of a spigot. This was inevitable.
Was it 80%? Was that the number? 80%, and somebody can correct me, obviously, if I'm wrong here, but I remember reading something like 80%, I think it was that high, of the US dollars in circulation today were printed in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
80%. Yeah.
That's insane.
Well, guys, I know they take money out of circulation. I get that when bills get used and worn and blah, blah, blah. But think about the last time you folded over a handful of money that wasn't pretty fucking crispy. They're printing it all the time. It's nuts. And then you get those
Crispy.
brand new ones. You can't even count them. They're so stuck together. They're so new. And that's constantly what I get here in, the ATMs or the store.
You bring up a
whatever.
good point. Zach, I think you're the one that brought this up. So I shared this on my Facebook. I found it. I think I had like a memory thing that came around, and it showed me something I had put on Facebook in 2011. Okay.
Wow.
So 11 years ago. And I shared, that's a long time ago, $3.94 a gallon in Washington. And I was complaining about the price.
Bitching about it, right?
That's what I was doing.
Right.
I was like, I can't believe I'm paying $3.94 a gallon.
We bragged about it just days ago. Oh, we got that for $3.90.
You know what I mean? I mean, but even then, we're in Washington. I think we just dipped below $5 for regular unleaded. So we're below the $5 mark again. It's like $4.98. That's only $1 more than we were paying 11 years ago.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, there's something's going to have to give eventually. The Federal Reserve, in my opinion, needs to be audited. Never been done. It's been a company over 100 years. They have a pretty important job that the American people, I think, have the right to take a look at their books every once in a while. That's just my opinion, but yeah.
Yep.
We don't want to talk too much about the Federal Reserve, though. You'll start losing your connection, and then all kinds of crap start happening.
That's right.
So family stuff, man. That's awesome. It's so important. And when we do get wrapped up into this, I'm sure some people have spent a lot less time that they would have with their family wrapped up into flat earth. When, like you said, you were putting out a lot of content, and that's time.
I don't regret it.
Family right there.
Yeah, I don't regret it, but it was, absolutely. And anybody that's, I'm seeing some people like Globebusters, hey Bob, and Cammie, I know you're involved with all that too, and Karen B, and I see Billy Zieg in chat. I'm probably missing a couple of people, but just some of the names that have scrolled by, these are people that have been doing it longer than I ever did, and putting out content a lot more than I did. So that's a sacrifice. I mean, we're talking to the Iron Men of radio right now. I mean, how many shows, Josh and Walt? How many shows are you guys at now? I mean, come on.
Quick count, man.
Ironworx is probably getting close to 500. It's got to be, I think, because we did 420 a bit ago.
Yeah, that's true. We were just bragging about that. So
let me see if I can't.
Let me go look. That's what I was trying to do too. Go ahead.
And then Jesus, you figure have no sphere. Been going.
That was before Ironworx.
7 years, maybe.
Yeah.
A weekly show. So 52 weeks a year. Figure maybe 50 a year, because I'm sure we don't hit every one. Times 7 years. That's
another 350.
Math people.
350 more.
350.
Yeah.
And even then, you could probably call that another maybe 300, because we take a few weeks off here and there. So even if it's 300, that seems
almost 800 shows.
And
2 hours or more.
2 hours or more. Yeah, some of that's 5 hour, 6 hour shows.
That's a lot of hours.
Yeah.
So back to the point is, that's a sacrifice away from, other things. Now, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Obviously, it's like, it's a prioritization thing. Where's your passion lie? What's your motivation? And, there's some, the content producers like you guys, you guys are week in and week out crushing it. And I didn't have it into me. I didn't.
And that's a lot of times I don't think I do either. 467 shows on. Well, had we gone live this morning would have been show number 467.
You didn't break your streak, did you?
Well, there's not a whole lot bigger of a streak.
No.
I mean, consecutive. I don't even know how many consecutive shows. That'd be an interesting. breakdown. But
it's awesome. You guys are awesome.
2 years straight, maybe.
Seems like it. Seems like we did do a whole lot there straight and not stop.
Well, I mean, that kind of was what kept us going during the madness of the last 2+ years. That's why
Did you guys ever run out of stuff to talk about the last 2 years?
Oh,
No,
we ran out of stuff after like the
never-
third show.
Yeah, we quit talking about flat Earth so much, and it was more a therapy session
Yeah.
for all of us to go through all this madness we're going through, and the people in chat.
People
We
in
just
chat,
all,
our
the
guests
community.
that would come in and vent and get rid of what was going on,
Right on.
and share their troubles and what's going on with the craziness around them, you know.
make fun of stupid news articles. There's hundreds of those to make fun of. I mean,
How about the dancing nurses?
Well, you know, when you're in trauma and you're stressed out, you have to look at something to relieve some of that stress, Paul. Come on, man. So you dance the night away. And people just sucked it up. Oh, they're doing it for the patients. They're doing it for all of us. What the fuck? People just justify shit to get themselves to sleep at night, I guess. I don't get it sometimes. How they can see what's going on and just, yeah, that's normal.
And we see the take that they release. We don't see all the takes that get scrapped or they screwed up. We don't see the hours and hours they spent rehearsing and practicing. All we see is them acting like a bunch of idiots.
Heroes, Josh. They're heroes.
yeah, these are
Here.
choreographed dances
Yeah.
by groups of people. You're right, Josh. That's not something that you just, I mean,
Hey,
yeah.
you guys come over here. Let's do this dance real quick. No. That's not how that works.
Gosh, there's so many cool people in chat I haven't talked to in a long time. Musicians for Truth, Ted Summer.
And we've been
Liz,
getting stuff,
Iron
we've been
Maiden.
mentioning you know, for the last, since we heard you were going to be on, since we scheduled it. And we've had so many people in chat. You know, and we mentioned it on other shows and stuff, on Glowbusters and stuff, and everybody, oh, Paul's going to be on?
Right?
Awesome. Yeah. You've been missed, brother, for sure.
You have been missed.
You guys are too kind. No, you know, in all transparency, I have not been keeping up, you know, with what's been going on, you know, in the community. What's the latest and greatest, you know, globe debunking, you know, whatever, you know, evidence that's been, you know, found out, scraped up, thought of.
What I think is great is that there's not a whole lot of really new stuff. Where we rest in our laurels, where our arguments lie, we don't really have to stray too far from there. It's the same shit we've been saying for the last 8 years.
Yeah.
We can still see too far.
Water.
Yeah, and when asked about the sky, yeah, it's like, we don't know, period. We don't know.
Yeah.
You know?
Just yet.
We can tell you what they're going to do year after year after year, because they do it every year. You know, we can tell you that, but as far as what they are and how far and all that stuff, yeah, we don't know.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
It's not a whole lot has really changed. How about out there in like friends and family or people you know, maybe on the street at work or stuff like that? Have you heard anybody talking about flat Earth or mention it or bring it up?
You know, no, really, it was the Rona for, if I could say that.
You can say it. We don't give a shit.
We're not scared.
Well, I just didn't want, you know, like, you guys probably are get like the algorithm, right? It runs through it.
Yeah, no,
listens for keywords and all that garbage.
Yeah, that's what they're after us for right now.
That's all right.
Did you know how much politics gets discussed here
Yeah.
on the
Politics, yeah, that's where you get in trouble. But you know, everybody was talking about that forever, right? Mask, no mask, VAX, no VAX, you know, government control, you know, whatever, state by state, and then
zones,
then it's the primate pox.
Right.
I don't know. Is that still a thing, or did that kind of die off? I don't know what the latest is.
I don't even know because we don't keep up anymore, dude.
I'm totally unplugged from that.
It just removes me further and further and further from the crowd, which is a good thing, you know. At one point, there was still a little niggling fear of like, maybe one day we'll all get sick. This was, you know, 20 years ago. My family being in the hospitals working, respiratory therapists, you hear all the horror stories, you know, and that's what it's all about, the fear-driven bullshit. So, yeah, it has gotten me so removed from even paying attention. It's not even my reality anymore. That's their reality. They're all having their little fun in for whatever reason. They seem to enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
You guys go play.
Yeah.
I'm not over there. I'm over here.
I look at it like a stage.
Right. I don't watch that show.
Yeah, I'm not going to LARP. I'm not joining the activities. And it's nice here in South Carolina because there was never any mask mandates at all.
Mm.
I mean, there'd be signs that say, you know, we advise you to wear a mask in here, blah, 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 or ask you to please wear a mask, this and that. But there were no mandates.
Wow.
It was, South Carolina's the governor here is pretty cool when it comes to that kind of stuff.
And that's why we went to Florida, because we weren't bothered there. You know, it was really, I think they only closed down in Florida for like March. I think like everybody closed down or tried to. That was like the 2 weeks to flatten the curve nonsense that began. You know, that was the narrative, right? But then I think it was it was like May, Florida, the governor there, Ron DeSantis, you know, I mean, I'm a big Ron DeSantis fan. I don't get into politics, but the Florida governor is pretty cool. But he was like, no, we're not doing this. You know, I mean, he was already recognizing how the economy was getting hurt and all that stuff. So he was like, nope, that's it. Everything's open. You know, and he even said, we're not ever doing that again. This was in May of 2020. And so that's why we went. That's why it was like early May, and we had been like 2 months in lockdown here in Washington. That's why I was like, get in the RV, and we drove there cross country. Supposed to be sheltering in place. We're driving across the borders. I got a story. I don't know if I ever told you guys. I don't think I did. We got stopped at the Alabama Florida border. They were stopping people coming in to the state and asking a bunch of questions. I'll tell you that, guys, sometime how I got out of that one.
Sorry, I don't answer questions.
Yeah, I'm not taking questions today. I'll be on my way.
No comment.
But I don't even remember where I was going with all that. But you know, that was the thing about, you know, everybody just like, you know. My point was the mask thing. So here in Washington, you know, and we live in kind of a rural area in the state of Washington. So like on the west side of the state, Seattle, Tacoma, the big cities, you know, it was obviously a big deal there. I mean, those are the places you were probably seeing videos where, like, I think you even saw it in Oregon where, you know, a mom was like trying to take the kids to the playground and they were like roping it off, wouldn't let the kids go play in the playground and stuff.
Absolutely.
That was
place that I walked to on a daily basis where I was out there in Oregon at my brother's.
Yeah.
As part of my daily, just getting out of the house, away from the situation. Yeah, I went. It went from full of people, full of kids, best people, and suddenly it's all roped off. And I'm like, is this really? Where am I at? What fucking country do I live in?
Twilight Zone. Yeah, you're like, this has got to be just a nightmare. You know, it's got to be a dream. But I only got, being in kind of a rural area though in Eastern Washington, I only got kicked out of 2 places over 2 months. I mean, I still was just like, I just like walking to the grocery store, and they were like, you know, sir, here, and they were like handing them out, you know, because you have to wear them. And I was like, no, thanks, I'm good. Or I've got one. And I just kept walking. I mean, I had one in my pocket. I don't know. I just wasn't wearing it, but I had one. I didn't want to lie. I'm good. I got one. And I keep going. But it was 2 places. There was a gun shop I got kicked out of, and I went in there just because I was having some work done on my shotgun. I was having some modifications done, and I called up the guy. I said, "Can you do it?" He said, "Yeah." So I went down there and I walked in, and he was very adamant that I did. And I said, "I'm not going to. You still want my business?" And he said, "No." And he was like, "Get out."
Wow.
So that was the end of that. And there was like a little mail shop I went into, like postal services. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Like a mailboxes, et cetera. I don't even know if this exists.
Right. Yeah.
But that type of place.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't serve me. They would serve me, but I had to be outside.
Well, you know,
the segregation.
The bugs know where you are in relation to, like, you're at a table, not at a table, in a school, not at a school. They're pretty smart bugs. Pretty smart bugs.
Yeah,
other
I
than
had
that, I
someone
didn't
tell
get
me
kicked
I could
out.
wait outside, and I just left. I was like, yeah, then I'm not giving you my business. Bye.
Yeah. Can you imagine if I walked in and they told me to wait outside because of the color of my skin? They go, we'll serve you, but outside.
Exactly. Thank you. Holy crap. Yes. I don't know. People's heads would explode.
Oh, dude, they would have been shut down so fast. They would have had riots. They would have been out there with pitchforks.
Have you seen that meme going around about it's not polite to ask if somebody's been, poked after they've had a heart condition, if they died of a heart condition? That's for important things like going to the restaurant.
Right.
Yeah, have you seen all the people dropping? Like professional athletes, college athletes, high school athletes. These people that are in, good shape for the most part. It's wild, man.
Yeah, there's some. Yeah. I mean, the evidence is the evidence.
Everything else. Snake venom in the water? Really?
What was the one I saw the other day? I saw a headline. It was something, maybe it was, even you have to dig to find out if it's true or not, but somebody was sharing a headline that was something like that. It was like something just totally regular, normal run-of-the-mill stuff that's causing, heart conditions now. It's like, no, that's always been the case. We've dealt with that.
Right. I went further than the headlines and into the data studies, and Great Britain is doing probably some of the more transparent as far as just making data files available. And there's an increase of over 16% in deaths annually. I mean, that's a huge number. Over 16% of deaths that are non-COVID related, that are higher than normal, than like the 5-year norms and the different generations going up. So it seems like everything is 15 to 20% more deadly.
These are 18 to 49.
Right, working, and again, and you were ruling out that not only working in that, but they also ruled out that they died with COVID or of COVID, which they were marking on. I'm saying this is on top of what they're labeling as everything COVID deaths, which you get, extra bennies for. But outside of that, for that's unrelated, the numbers are so sky high, and it's really, I don't know if anybody, I know I can't look around with my friends and family and say I haven't lost several people I know in the last few years. It's a soft kill, people. I didn't say that. Never mind, keep going. This is not medical advice. This is not medical.
There was one? Who is
excess
this?
mortality.
Prank caller.
Yeah, exactly. There is extreme excess mortality.
That's the stat. Yeah, that's the stat for like
that is the genuine. That is the genuine stat, by the way. You're not joking, and that is what they call it, is excess mortality. Thank you for doing this. And I am not giving medical advice. You can go into the stats under excess mortality and look what's happening. Happy Friday, everybody.
Which you'll be interested. Yeah, happy Friday to you, because I remember going through the stats, trying to go to the stats like at the end of 2020 and looking at excess mortality, because, you figure if it's a pandemic, we should have off the 5-year average or, 10-year average, all that stuff. We should see some sort of at least a blip on the radar. And there was none, if I recall. It was just normal run of the mill. The only difference is like flu and pneumonia had like been cured. That was the only difference.
They were gone, and apparently head wounds caused the vid, and stab wounds caused the vid, choking out.
But this year,
motorcycle accidents.
We get to the end of 2022, and we do have a blip or a spike. What changed?
Funny how that works, isn't it?
What changed? What's the variable there?
Happy Friday, my friend.
Is it happy hour now?
Apparently. There was also no, or at least not many, or at least none, actually planned events. Like apparently bullets scared off the vid, or the vid scared off the bullets. That's what it was.
Maybe. It's like Clark Kent and Superman. It's like when he's Clark Kent, he's super small and you can't even see him. But you know he's there, just flying around, waiting to infect everyone, making everybody a walking contamination.
Kerry Woolley said it in chat. That's what we have now. We have SADS. We had SIDS, and now we have SADS. That's it.
Yeah. And it's like people don't even realize. Maybe because it's so close to SIDS, they just it's a Mandela effect. I don't know, but it. Why the idea that death occurs suddenly at a young age is normal or
for no reason. For no reason. And now we've got adults suffering from the same thing.
Well, what is it? The United States is like 170 something out of 207 countries in infant mortality rate.
Oh, and infant mortality, yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
We are one of the top countries supposedly in the world, right? One of the richest.
Modern medicine. We are the cutting edge.
That's just insane numbers. Insane numbers.
Let's go. Brandon there in chat said, it's the black tea giving everybody blood clots and strokes and heart attack. Just saw that on the news. Case closed. Well, thank you, Brandon. We appreciate that.
Yep.
Let's go, Brandon.
You don't see any green tea or any white tea giving people problems, do you? That's just white tea privilege right there.
True fact and true statistic out there is that the number one thing you can talk about that will get you shut down from YouTube is any type of medical information, true or otherwise. We're going to be saved by Globebusters, I'm hoping.
That's
I'm
right.
going to admit
you had asked, sir, if there were any new developments in flat Earth, and there have been a ton. We were so wrong.
There have been a ton.
And the man who is here to tell us all about it. What's up, Bobbo? Friend.
Save our sorry asses, baby.
Good
This
point.
has all been satire, commentary.
Is that Bob?
It is, maybe. I think it's
he might talk. He's probably muted.
He's probably
a rookie.
He's probably getting all the
Yeah,
sound
I'm a rookie.
settings.
I was just talking away with my mute button on, so there you go.
That's Iron Realm special.
First
I'm not
time
used
in,
to Zoom.
First time in front of a mic, Bob.
Yeah, no doubt, right? What a rookie mistake.
Good to hear your voice, my friend.
Yeah, it's good to see you, Paul. I mean, wow, I cannot believe that it has been, 3 years since 3 or 4 years, 3 years since the last conference. And,
We're coming up on 3. Yeah.
I know. And I remember we were all at the very first one in Raleigh, and that was absolutely amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like time has exploded. It's so incredible. But yeah, a lot has gone on. I mean, we have definitely made a lot of progress in the flat Earth world. We've got the ballers, turned around so badly that they are now saying stuff like, oh, well, there is no geometric curve. You can't see it, right? So, if you're 6 foot tall and you're looking out over the ocean, the horizon should be like 3 miles away, right? Well, now they say, well, no, you can't see that. And you're saying, you mean you can't see 3 miles away? Well, no, it's always apparent. The horizon is apparent, right? So they're completely backtracking 100%.
Man, I got like lambasted 6 years ago for saying that publicly.
I know, right? I know. So yeah, I mean, they are just so completely doing an about face in their tracks, and now they're getting blasted with the operation of a sextant. It comes out, we find out about the sextant and the way that it operates. You have to have, right angles, and you can't draw a right angle off of a curve, right? And we've gone in and looked at all the technical, specifications and exactly how it is to be used. And there's no doubt about it. The sextant is 100% a flat Earth tool, right? And it goes on and on and on. But I mean, yeah, there's all kinds of stuff that's really going on, but it's just killing me.
Planar sailing, right? I mean, that's been the thing as long as we humans have navigated the waters. Planar sailing is how it works. And it wouldn't work on any other surface.
That's right. That's right. So all these things now, we've got them pinned in a corner so badly that it seems like every other day they're changing their story. And then, when you finally beat them to a pulp, they just come back with the ad homs and all that stuff. And it really makes me wonder, are people really that cogdis, or are they really that invested, or are they really that hired? Are they working for somebody? I don't know. It just amazes me to see the amount of people that are just so uh, enraged by this whole idea to even consider it. So same, staves up in that department for sure. But we are definitely making strides, and the conferences have gone on. Karen B has been throwing some fabulous conferences.
It's been amazing. I can't wait to get to one. It's got to be my year.
Yeah, you really do. Well, I mean, because they are awesome, and the venues that she picks. In fact, the venue that we're going to this year is the one we did 2 years ago, I think, or yeah, something like that. It's at the Masons Hall, right? Which is pretty funny.
Shriners.
And Shriners. Well, Masons, the same thing, right?
Actually, 33 degrees.
What's the difference?
Yeah, it's all the same. So, but yeah, I mean, we've had 300, 400, 500 people coming to those things, and it's just been fabulous.
I remember the first like meetup I ever went to was in Seattle, and it's where I met D Marble. It's where I met Patricia. I think it's where I met Mark.
I was watching that
for
video
the first
last
time.
night, man. While I was getting
in fact, I was talking to you guys. I cut out to talk to Josh and Walt while I was there. But guess where that was held at?
Where?
Pyramid Brewing in Seattle. So yeah, I know what you're talking about. It's like you walk out there going, why are we throwing fuel on the fire? Why do we do that? Give them even more. We don't need to.
Yeah, it's amazing.
If they can't make it.
Yeah, but it is amazing that it seems like the elite and their plans are definitely in disarray right now, because they are getting hit hard from every angle. This shenanigans that's gone on over the past couple of years has really, I think, upset their game plan, and they're letting some things slide in. And as they do that, they're just digging themselves in deeper and deeper and deeper. So actually, a while ago, I was thinking, they've got us wrapped up, there's nothing we can do. And I really was starting to get a bad attitude about it. And then I realized it's like, they cannot possibly be planning what is going on right now. This is too insane. I don't think they have a clue what they're doing right now. And I think if there was ever a hint that we are making some really amazing progress, it's now. And that just tells me we need to push even harder. So
yeah, I see with the whole Roe Wade, the Supreme Court with the gun control in New York, and the EPA with the whole climate change thing. Now the EPA can't regulate CO2 in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like these are death throes. These are them just throwing stuff at the wall, trying to get people to fight, not pay attention to what they're doing, but it's not working.
Nope, it absolutely is not. And, those are good signs, and people need to recognize that and, kind of take advantage of it. But again, it helps if you change your approach and how you talk to people. And I think we've made a lot of progress in that department too. I don't know if you watched any of the stuff that Dave Weiss has been doing, Paul, but man, talk about a one-man emissary army. That guy is incredible.
Yeah, Dave, hats off. I mean, that guy's been crushing it. Well, I mean, since before I even met him, I know he's been doing, but since he kind of took this on full time, I mean, how many shows has he done now? I know he's got to be catching up to Mark.
Yeah, it's over to what Mark's been doing. Interviews, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
on his interview playlist, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, and he was just on. Gosh, what is it? He was just a big one, Coast to Coast. Yeah, I mean that was
and that was
an epic interview.
Yeah,
really good interview.
Yeah, I was really proud of him. I mean, he kept his cool so well, because George is sitting there going, "Well, I don't know. I believe in those Apollo missions." It's like, really, George? Really? You look at that thing that they flew up there supposedly, and you actually believe that thing got any higher off the ground than 6 inches? You're smoking crack, dude.
And all he had for an excuse was, well, I know this guy. He said he's been to the moon, and I've met
Edgar
him.
Mitchell.
And I know him. Yeah, he's my friend. And it's like, yeah, but friends lie to friends, man. I mean, this is like beyond national security, this kind of
Oh
stuff.
yeah, especially when
You
you're
know?
under an oath that basically the penalty is
Death.
horrific. It's worse
Yeah.
than death, really. I mean, when you actually read some of those oaths and the description of what will happen, it's like,
Oh,
what a
yeah.
way to go. So yeah, I don't think, if I was under that kind of a threat, I could see being able to be very convincing to people,
Yeah.
So
Okay, Israel Adams. I see he's got a comment here. I suspect Dave is responsible for taking the Georgia or the Guidestones down. So I want to hear for what you guys, everybody here on the panel, what do you think happened to the Guidestones? I'm just curious. I don't have a theory. I just heard about it actually just recently. What's the running theory? What do you guys like?
Well, personally, I think that it was an inside job. They took down their own monument, and I think for several reasons. First and foremost is because it was getting a lot of bad publicity for it talking about reducing and maintaining a 500 million population. I mean, that screams, population control, obviously, and it's just not a good thing. And the other thing is recently a lot of flat earthers have been going there and showing the stars rotating around. You can look through that one hole that's pointed at Polaris. And, they're making this point. It's like, that's going to be there forever and it's never, ever going to change. And that was really hitting people hard. They were really getting it. So I think the Georgia Guidestones, they probably took it out on purpose. And then they're going to try and blame it on, I don't know, probably flat earthers or somebody. I don't know who they're going to blame ultimately. But I think that it was just kind of a hot spot and it was something that was drawing too much attention to their agenda. They had to go.
That's one of the first things that I thought of when I heard that it had been, sabotaged and that they then leveled it. I was like, that was like one of the best flat earth proofs that were out there that was like, not made by obviously a flat earther.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about an objective, if you want to call it that, third party sort of thing. That's what I thought of. I was like, that's one of the best ones I thought we had.
Yeah, Billy Zig in chat asked what was in the time capsule. They dug, and there was no time capsule, Billy, supposedly.
Yeah, there's supposed to be a time capsule under DIA also.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was muted up, guy.
Denver International Airport.
Yeah.
Right after the news hit, I went digging and found a story where a Georgia far-right candidate had just recently called the Georgia Guidestones satanic in her speeches, etc. In the story, it said, in her campaign, Taylor connected the monument to her distrust of the vid vaccine, abortion as demonic worship, and the New World Order, the long-standing and baseless conspiracy that an authoritarian globalist government is coming. Yeah, so they put it all in her lap in this story. So yeah, I think you're absolutely correct, Bob. They're going to aim it at us, the truther community. Not, I don't really believe it'll be I mean, whether it's somebody that did it from them or from the truther side of things, it's still debatable for me. The fact that we have footage of the occurrence that nobody can have footage of them setting it up makes absolutely no sense to me at all.
Exactly. Where they have the footage of the explosion, right? People, the law officers know that the people are out there. They've obviously got it monitored, right? So why didn't they get the people that did it?
Right. So that kind of leaves it to being them on their side.
I posted a video of what is supposed to be somebody in the dark running up to the monument and then running away from the monument much, much faster just before the explosion, I guess. And then after the explosion, they were supposed to have seen this like silver car driving off or something.
Yeah, wizardry. I think the one I saw just basically it came in and it just blew up. So whether it was hit with a rocket, could have been a rocket, could have been a missile, or it could have had a charge planted at the base of it, but only took out the one monument, right? And then they decided instead of replacing it, that they would just tear it all the way down. Well, why would they do that? right?
That's the other part that made no sense.
I saw some pretty crazy angles of some of those remaining slabs, and the angles at which they were canted would make it pretty dangerous to have any unsuspecting people walking up to read them standing underneath it, lest it
Well, they could
fall
always
and
close
crush
it.
them. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
They
one
could
of the
always
things.
close it. But, that was an expensive monument, and obviously a lot of people went there. And I think that was the problem. A lot of people were going there.
If you look up in the paperwork, I think I saw some legal paperwork from the originations when they had it drawn up. It wasn't like an order saying, if this should be destroyed or someone comes to tear it down, you must rebuild it. But it's saying, look, this comes from a place of goodness, and you really ought to go ahead and rebuild my monument if someone decides to blow it up or something really similar to the destruction of it. It does seem like it was planned. I think it'd be real easy for the inside job to get some crazy conspiracy theorists all wound up and saying, here, it's a 4th of July. Here's how you build a sparkler bomb. Here's the Georgia Guidestones. Tick, 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 tick. And we'll just wait to see what happens. And sure as shit, some silly redneck with a sparkler bomb comes and blows up Georgia Guidestones. I don't know.
Okay, as of right now, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 different GoFundMes to rebuild the Georgia Guidestones.
Jeez.
15 that you know about.
Yeah, that's just by typing in Georgia Guidestones and looking real quick. That was just a quick search.
Not counting the private trust. Well, I'm sure there's a private trust set up by R.C. Christian or whoever the fuck it was. Any other sort of Mason. Who the fuck knows? You have a private trust and tear it down, build it. We'll just keep doing this and fuck them.
I think we should start a GoFundMe to rebuild the Georgia Guidestones on the moon.
Absolutely.
Some of these, it looks like they could. They're asking.
You know how much money would pour in for that?
A lot.
It would make a lot. That would do really well. So the lightning strike is out. I mean, that's debunked. No, I mean, what's going on with that?
I don't believe it. Nope.
Yeah, I don't see the lightning strike.
I don't see that in the footage I saw, but
I'm not going to say it's not possible. It just seems
somebody I was talking to.
Play one.
Yeah, somebody I was talking to said that they thought like the lights that were around it, they saw them like brighten up, so they thought it was like a surge. That's why they thought it was like a lightning strike, and then the power surge, because he goes, I sit in a house, and we would get lightning hit near us, and it would bring the lights on, just from the electric charge and the ether, right? So anyway,
it depends on what type of bomb was used as well. I bet.
Because it could have been a reflection too of a flash. I don't know.
But yeah, I saw the light post definitely flare up, and it looked like almost lightning on the right side of the screen, but it didn't light up the whole sky like lightning does. Like the left side where the light was, I never saw that even for a split second do the bright blue sky.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, because even in the dead of night, it lights up everything.
It's a sparkler
but there
bomb.
were lightning strikes around there at that time. There were lightning strikes right around. There's people who monitor lightning strikes. They try to nail them down to a certain area, and none of them were right on the Guidestones according to their estimations. But there were ones within a couple miles that were predicted, all the way around it. There was a big thunderstorm going on in that area. So yeah,
I like the idea though that that God would just like boom, finger of God took it out, because there was people that were like posting on social media. I saw, and this is how I learned about it. They were saying, like how, victory is ours, and they pictures of the Guidestones falling, and it's like this, like the statue was pulled down, like victory sort of thing. And I was like,
that
doesn't really change anything, right? No. You know that, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think if it really was a message from God, it would have been a lot more meaningful if lightning struck Bill Gates' house and annihilated it. Now that I could get behind.
So what's the deal with the Vatican going up in flames? What's the deal with all the fire going on in Vatican City? It seems a little strange.
No, it wasn't in Vatican City. It was quite a ways away from Vatican City.
Oh,
I
was it?
went on the map and looked exactly where it was, and it was even past the Parthenon and all. It was on the outskirts of the city, but it wasn't like Vatican City. I know, I saw that too, and I was like, I had to go look and make sure before I started telling people about it. Yeah.
That today's news, was there a fire in Vatican City?
It's
I
just
think it was, what, about a week ago?
something like that. Yeah.
Maybe 3-4 days ago, something like that. Yeah, it was a junkyard caught on fire. And tires were burning, and it looked like it was black smoke. It looked like a huge fire had started somewhere.
It's tires, yeah.
Yeah, it did. It looked very, very devastating from the pictures until you learned that it was pictures of a junkyard that caught fire and kind of put together. Oh yeah, that is kind of what
we're saying it was like in
Vatican in the city,
Circle, like in the where the obelisk is. Someone was saying that on their headlines.
Right. Yeah, it wasn't anywhere close to it. And again, it was a junkyard that caught fire, and so the devastation that looked like cars and that were all junked and completely ruined. It's was no different if you could visualize your local junkyard catching fire. It would be, it looks pretty extreme. So yeah, we were cracking up. That's what you can do. You can again take the shots with the headlines and edit it and really make a big to do. And a lot of that's happening lately, I think, to get I think they are baiting conspiracy theorists and that, trying to make us fall for stupid shit. Pay attention, people. Keep your brain engaged at all times. That's what we're here for.
Have you seen all of the food processing plants in the United States magically all catching on fire around the same time?
Now that's really happening.
Yeah, I saw a list of, or like a map that had all the like pins, where there's been fires or something devastating happening to these plants. It was all over.
It was all over. It's more than the United States. It's worldwide happening right now when you start looking at it. But the United States does have like the highest concentration of little dots for the space. Then again, you can click in to find the data stories, go and find stories and see if they really exist. These ones are really existing. It's, again, with the mix in. You know who I like the name of his channel is Fishing for Truth, because that's really what it is to do the news or do anything is you have to fish for the truth. You have to look at every story, and regardless of who puts it out there. In fact, you should be more leery of the mainstream than the off-market ones, but it's like every story you have to do. There's nothing you can really take for granted anymore. They are even, the mainstream media is getting caught in their documentaries and in their little specials, editing sentences out mid-sentence and changing context of meanings on edits, again, before airing them. Were accidentally some of the pre-show. We know it happens. We knew it happened with Between or Beyond the Curve, and the way that they again cut and put things together. But they're getting really good at it. Where again you can say a sentence and they will cut and paste your sentence together, inserting and taking things out and totally changing the meaning of things, and research everything.
Well said.
Tammy Rant.
So, okay, off this doom and gloom and all this horrible stuff, Paul, what's some new stuff you've been doing now that you're in Florida? Any new activities that you've started partaking in or anything like that?
I don't know if you guys see my background?
Yeah, nice.
Okay. I just wanted to give somebody, something to talk about, because I'm sure they'll run with that and say that, this or that. To your question, you know what I have been doing? I don't know why I'm laughing. It's not funny. Maybe it is funny. It's just, I never thought that I would be involved in this sport, but I married a participant in this sport. So I guess it was just a matter of time, but my wife's bugged me for years and years and years to get involved, because she's played it her whole life. So I've actually, the last, 4 months or so, I have been playing and taking lessons and playing in like tournaments.
What?
The sport of tennis. I'm a tennis
No
player
way.
now. Yeah, I'm a tennis
Nice,
player.
man. That's a good sport to play. Really, I mean, as
I'm
far as
really getting into it. I was watching Wimbledon. I mean, I would have never ever in my life sat down and watched Wimbledon, but now I'm kind of interested in. If you just make it look so easy, because when I'm
did
out
you
there,
see
I don't look like that.
did you see that movie with John McEnroe when he was young?
No,
It just came
what is
out
it?
not too long ago. It's about him and Sven something, whoever he beat. The guy won like
No, I haven't seen
one of
it.
them.
Is it like Netflix or?
I'm not even sure. I got it on one of the free streaming ones.
Okay, I'll look
I
it up.
think.
But it came out like this year or like the last few years?
Yeah, Shia LaBeouf or whatever, the LaBeouf or
Oh
whatever his
yeah,
name
yeah, yeah.
is.
I know who you're talking about.
He plays John McEnroe in it, a
Okay.
young John McEnroe. Yeah, it's actually a pretty good movie. It was good, and I never was a tennis guy, but yeah, it's.
I'll check it
I
out.
bet
I'll
you
check
like
it out.
Yeah. But
No, I
it's
haven't
cool,
seen
man.
it, but it's a difficult sport. I had never really played. I mean, you pick up a racket like when you're in high school for PE, and you just hit the ball around, and it's fun to hit it about as far as you can, like you're. But it's difficult. The swing is there's so many components to it to get the ball to go over the net, but have the top spin to stay in, and to do it with any sort of authority. I mean, that's unless I guess you're a natural. I'm not a natural, so I have to work at it. But it's a lot of fun and it's great exercise, and it's a great social activity as well because there's a big tennis community here in our area. My wife's been involved, like I said, for years, so I've kind of joined that, and it's a great way to meet new people and get some exercise. So I've really been enjoying it. I never
The
thought I
number
would
one
play in a million years. I know it's just weird for me to think about that. I actually own a tennis racket now.
number one tennis player in the world is a flat earther.
I do know that.
Is it Djokovic or something like that?
Novak Djokovic. That's my wife's favorite player too. Yeah.
Awesome. That's cool. I
Yeah.
never played tennis, but I really did get into racquetball for quite a while.
I've never played that, but that's can be a
fun.
pretty intense game. Yeah, I've watched it.
Yeah, it's a lot faster than tennis, and
Yeah.
plus you can use bank shots and ricochet off. You can hit off the back wall, and yeah, it's fun. I used to love racquetball.
Yeah, that's a completely different sport. Playing it in a big box. It's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Underground in chat says tennis disproves the globe and Coriolis.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, a lob shot over the top. If you hit one and it's up in the air for 2 seconds, that the ground would have moved 150 yards if you were on the equator.
Need you forget that old Neil himself told you that the reason that field goal went through the goalpost was because of the Coriolis. So don't even start with me, Zach.
That guy's got to be punching himself in the face for all the dumb shit he said over the years.
He says he said something like in that interview. He was like, I watched it on TV. I did a quick calculation, and I'm just trying to seriously, guy, come on. He did a quick calculation, and the only reason that was able to get in because it just went, right by the goalpost. It just went right by there. So if the earth hadn't moved, that ball, obviously the ball then leaves that frame of reference, right? Got to separate from it. So that's what he's stating. But then has to rejoin it. But the goalpost just moved enough to allow the ball to get in. So that's the only reason they won the game.
That's all the proof I need.
That was
so silly.
That was fun.
That's another thing I think that is indicating that we are really getting one up on them a lot is the response from the media, the response from these celebrities. They're not saying, hey, flat earthers, this. Sometimes they say that, but they will come out with news reports that are clearly meant to kind of punk on us, right? And again, if we weren't onto something and we didn't have something here that they really desperately want to hide, and if it wasn't true, right, then they would treat it like anything else that anybody knows is BS, right? They would just ignore it. But just the fact that flat Earth has gotten so much attention over the past 7-8 years is amazing. It really is, and especially when you think that there are literally millions of us. I mean, we were talking the other day about the English speaking community is pretty big, but the Spanish speaking is outrageously big. So, there's probably tens, maybe hundreds of millions of flat earthers at this point. And it's going to do nothing but keep going because we keep getting out there. People are spreading the word. We are infiltrating social media everywhere. They shut us down in one spot. We pop up somewhere else. It's not going to go away. And it's a big problem for them.
Yeah. I think there's a lot in what you said, Bob, about the Guidestones. I think that, that was getting a lot more bad press. I think you're right. Over the years, more and more people were hearing that and going, why? I mean, that's just like in your face, this depopulation, whatever. So you think that started to become kind of a pain in the butt for them they're like, why don't we just get rid of it? And then we can just say, and then it's gone forever.
Yeah. And, I was watching Jay Dreamers. I don't know if you know who Jay Dreamers is. He's a flat earther with the YouTube channel. And I was amazed because, he was looking at it and he said, well, I don't really see anything wrong with it. It's not like they said go out and reduce the population to 500 million. They said to maintain it at that. But it's like, well, doesn't that kind of infer that, some radical steps have got to be taken to reduce the population, right?
Well, yeah, it's like 85% of the population.
That's a crap ton, and it's not natural for population metrics to go down. They should be going up at at least, if not maintaining themselves.
Yeah.
So I mean, the inference was definitely there, and well, I think that combined with what was going on, about the things we can't talk about over the last 2 years, we're pointing directly at fulfilling, the first agenda on the Guidestones.
Right. I did see a story talking about the fact
Karen B said 93.7%.
Yeah, wow.
It's 93.7% if the half a billion.
6.6 or 6.3% of the population has the right to live, according to the Georgia Guidestones.
Yeah. Sorry, Walt, cut you off.
No, that's fine. That's fine. The time frame. This thing was put up in 1980. 1980, what was going on? The fucking Cold War. Day after, it was just on TV. People were terrified. In the day, they're coming tomorrow, not in a few years, not next week. Tomorrow, the button's getting pushed and we're all getting fried. That was the mindset. I lived through it. I remembered that terror as a kid. And all that shit was constantly on TV, Atomic Cafe, blah, 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 blah. So,
were you taught to duck and cover, Walt?
I'm sorry?
Were you taught to duck and cover in school?
Oh, buddy, absolutely. You damn Skippy. Plus, I lived in the tornado alley, so I also knew about going out in the hall, ducking and, kissing your ass goodbye. Anyway.
Yeah.
So definitely the idea of this thing being put up during that mindset by some artists, blah, 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 did get put in a couple of stories I've read since this happened. And thinking through that, maybe not. The time capsule is the thing I keep coming back to. I mean, it hasn't been found. It's not there. It wasn't ever put there. Josh said something about the dates not showing it ever got put in. I don't really know that part.
What was the story?
They took it out.
What was the story about the time capsule? I mean, I don't remember that. I mean, there was supposed to be one there, and when
and they didn't find it. And I think that there probably was one there because there was supposed to be one at Denver International Airport also. But I would bet you that they would open that and it probably had some sort of message like, here we are 50 years or whatever later, and hopefully fulfilled this agenda and, a lot of yada, 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 basically crowing about fulfilling, what went on there. And so they probably didn't want that to get out either. So somebody went and typed it. My guess, I don't know, just my thoughts.
Right. Again, this is more me just kind of throwing these things out there too, because I've been trying to piece it together and
when was it supposedly buried?
There's no dates. That was kind of the thing that throws it. There's no confirmation of it ever having had anything buried. There's no.
It was just the story
that it was
that
something.
it was there.
Well, it's there. Something on there speaks to a time capsule, but the dates aren't in there. There's no date. I'm trying to find the quote, Josh. Do you know it offhand?
That's what Karen is saying. There were no dates on the concrete above the time capsule.
Right.
Don't know the quote off the top of my head.
I'm trying to find the actual words, but it's not here.
Yeah, I am. While you're looking, I'm taking myself back to the 80s. I remember 1980 well. I was a sophomore in high school, and Pink Floyd "The Wall" was the number one song.
Babe.
It was completely what everything was about. Again, the Guidestones, I vaguely kind of remember them going up, but I don't know. It was a different realm than it is now.
Sorry.
Pardon? The album? Yeah. The album, the song, the entire, it came out in late, I think, 79, 1980.
79, but it was big in 80. Yep.
In 1980 was when it was huge. It was the anthem at the schools, and we don't need and smoking in the boys' room, and I mean it was just a.
I mean, is there a Pink Floyd song called "The Wall" though? I know another brick in the wall.
It's another brick in the wall.
Another brick in the wall. It's all from. It's a 4-sided album.
Yeah, I know.
Or double album, yeah.
So it seems there was a statement written or wrote. Was it read out? Yeah, I actually read out during the unveiling back in March of 1980 by Georgia Congressman Douglas Bernard. In order to avoid debate, we, the sponsors of the Georgia Guidestones, have a simple message for human beings now and for the future. We believe our precepts are sound and they must stand on their own merits. And that's it. That's all they said about it. Then
There's the part about the age of reason.
Oh yeah, that's what's written on the stones. This is just the message that was read out about this when it was happening at the unveiling. And that's kind of the only thing I see that they've ever said. Like the guy, Christian, never really talked about it after that I can find.
Yeah, I just watched a documentary on Nur Para Todos, Iru Landucci's channel. And it was in English. And I think it had subtitles in Spanish maybe. But it showed the guy that he said we didn't talk about his pseudonym, his religion, and we talked about work. And that's all I really talked to him about. And then, but when it talks about the writings on there and the age of reason and where that came from, it was written by Thomas Paine back in the day.
Well, the guy R.C. Christian was actually identified. He was a medical doctor, I think from like Minnesota or something like that. Is that the documentary that you saw, Zach, on the Ears channel? Because I saw it about 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, where they found out who R.C. Christian was. They traced him back to his office and the people that he associated with in his small towns. And it was Mason all the way, eugenics type of population control.
Well, yeah, that Age of Reason by Thomas Paine, it talks about getting rid of all the people we don't need anymore because we have machines now to do a lot of the work.
Yeah. Oh, and now, I mean, they're being so overtly blatant about it. They're saying, the gamers, they're coming out and they're saying, well, with the age of automation and, robots going to be taking over everything, what are we going to do with the rest of the population? And so basically their idea is to just keep them busy, occupied in games and, doing meaningless stuff. Right. Because that obviously is a problem. If you're going to take away a lot of the labors that have to be done in society because of our progresses, right, then what are you going to do with society? And so they've just thought they all had it all planned out, and I think a lot of people are maybe seeing that.
Yeah, the good thing is that the automation. I mean, our bodies are so magnificent, our hand-eye coordination and things like that a lot of the jobs will always need to be done by human beings until you have, I mean, you're talking about picking up little tiny strands of things and separating them and putting them into grooves and all this different kind of stuff that goes into a lot of the products and stuff. It's just these little tiny parts. And machines can't do that. They don't have that. They don't have our hand-eye being able to sort things out as quickly. And I don't know. It just, I mean, I worked with it for 20 years. And all the new automation, the last 3 years I worked there, we turned it off because it was just ridiculous. It was like engineers just trying to reinvent the wheel just so they have a job.
That's so crazy because, you know, I mean, 3D printing has gone to an amazing level as to, you know, what those things can do now. It's incredible. But I don't know. Obviously, people need to have a purpose in life, you know, and I'm not saying that their purpose should be work or anything like that. In fact, I think that people should, you know, if it was my type of utopian world, we would be free to pursue any type of thing that interests us. If we want to study physics, great. If we want to do creative things, that's great. But they just want to put everybody in a box, you know, and so we're watching them trying to do that.
Well, that's what Gaddafi was kind of trying to do over there. I mean, he was giving his people money left and right to go to college and start families and, you know, be able to money to move so you can move somewhere to get a job. And yeah, they didn't like that, what Gaddafi was doing. And they didn't like it for a long time. But as soon as he said, hey, I'm going to make a gold back money, that was it. They're like,
What
okay.
was it Gaddafi did? He got clean water for everybody there, was it? And then they blew it up. What was it he
Yep.
did?
4
was it,
decades
right?
it took to build the water from the deep underneath, you know, deep down in the ground. 4 decades he spelt this huge long tunnel that was going to give water to everybody there in Libya. And it took about 40 minutes after he died for them to destroy all that.
Yeah, you know, it's amazing, and it really does make you question history and people in it. You know, it's like when we were growing up, obviously everything we learned in school about people like Adolf Hitler was, you know, this guy's complete evil and stuff like that. And yet, for some reason, the German people loved him, right? Well, why is that? What, you know?
Because that's half of the story that we get. I bet you if the history books were written the right way, it would write that the American people loved Donald Trump. Well, some did, sure. Or the American people loved Joe Biden because some did, sure. And I bet you it's, again, you just can't, I don't think any story is going to give you a very accurate description of how things really were. But it is crazy how many people actually did support it. I mean,
my grandmother, 100% German on my mom's side. And yeah, she
supporter. Yeah.
She thought what was said about him was wrong.
Because she liked the direction that he was taking Germany. And then he got a little big for his britches, I think, and ended up having to take on the world. And I think that's where things started to fall apart. But what he did for Germany, I think a lot of Germans really did like and appreciate because he took it from being basically held under a boot to no longer being held under a boot.
Yeah, and that's, after all, that's what the leaders are supposed to do, right? They're supposed to put their country in a position where they're doing better, you know, a little edge above everybody else, you know, to improve the quality of life for the citizens. That's their job. And so he did it, you know. Sometimes they don't always use the right techniques in doing it. But, and again, I'm not saying I support Hitler because honestly, I don't know enough facts about what really happened. But what I do understand is between all the propaganda that they teach in school about that, it tells me that the mainstream is trying to cover up something huge about it. That's what it tells me.
It doesn't require all the emotional manipulation.
Exactly.
It shouldn't require emotional manipulation.
As usual, we should question everything.
I know they had a lot to do out in Antarctica. So maybe, I don't know. Maybe something happened out there and who knows? Because they had tech and stuff like that. The Nazis did. That was, you know, they were ahead of everybody. They were like we are now.
For the history buffs here? So when did Hitler allegedly die? 45.
I think.
And then when was the treaty started? That was until the 50s, though, right?
Oh, yeah,
52, 52, 53, or like early 50s. Okay. So there's some time there though between, if you believe what we're told, like when he died and when all that occurred.
When was he spotted in South America?
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
Like the 60s, I think.
61, 62, something like that. I used to know all that crap too. Hang on.
Yeah.
As crazy as we think the world is, as crazy as we think the world is, it may just be that it's even crazier than that.
I'm about halfway through that book, by the way, Bob.
I say that all the time. I mean, if we know what we know, what really going on?
Scary, right? It's like, whoa, man.
It's got to be 10 times worse than what we have even figured out.
Yeah,
if not more.
Exactly. Which book are you talking about, Walt?
Sorry, I lost my mute button. The Navigator Who Went Beyond Antarctica. Nos Conundrum. I can't remember the name. But yeah, you had recommended it a couple weeks back.
Okay.
And ordered it because I love the map. And it speaks to my whole, them being from out there, other lands, is extraterrestrial. So yeah, that idea, I like that. But again, I think it also goes, I don't think it's just like, I don't think it's just horizontal. I think this thing also goes vertical. I think layers are key too. The Hollow Earth, the underground cities, the, Agartha, the trees. I think the trees are key to the underground stuff too. I'm watching these videos Zach sent earlier, and they're kind of breaking my brain a little bit. I've never seen anything like this with this water and these trees.
Well, before we get into any of that, Walt, I know Paul's got to get going here in a couple minutes. So
absolutely, I'm trying to get him all excited about new stuff though.
I need that video.
New rabbit hole. Hey, before you do get out of here, man, you got something going on. I do want to talk about. I saw on your channel when I was digging around yesterday.
Well, first, before we go there, can you send me that? You said what the video that's blowing your mind? Can you put?
They're right here in the chat with us. They're in the Zoom chat. It's those 3 videos that Zach shared.
I don't know why I'm not seeing them.
Neither am I.
Maybe it was before you got in the call.
Yeah, here I'll
them back in there.
Okay, put them back in. All right. Yeah, sorry to cut you off there, Walt.
No, absolutely.
I want to add that to my queue, my watch later queue. Then.
Yeah, well, if you take those trees to those giant sizes that seem to be implied, yeah, there could have been something with other not dimensions, but other areas, other layers, other places down below that got hit with some roots, and I don't know, it's crazy shit.
Thanks, Zach.
Oh yeah, no problem. There's 3 of them. They're all pretty short. One of them, the tree is spitting out water for like 4 minutes.
I remember seeing that. I remember seeing something like that. Can you throw them in the chat to the YouTube chat too?
Yeah.
I'm sure there'll be some people there that haven't seen them. Yeah, guys, I've got to wrap up. I've got another obligation coming up here in a few. So
absolutely. Well, go ahead, head out. Next time you're here, because it's not going to be just like once every 5 years, dude. Please come back soon. Truly.
Definitely will. Thanks for having me on, guys. It was a lot of fun to catch up and see you guys again. Even though it's
great seeing you, Paul.
Yeah, likewise.
I have to ask, Paul, are you thinking of doing more things, or are you going to stay laid back, or what are your plans before I let you escape? It was neat, though, you guys. It was really neat that you almost let him out.
You almost let me off. You know what? I don't know. As far as like content or anything like that, I really don't know. And I wouldn't like to say, I would like to think I'm not laid back because I feel like I've been busier than ever now, but in a good way. Not to say that it was bad before, I guess. I don't know what I'm saying. The point is, no, I'm always around and, I check in when I can, but I miss all you guys. And I would love to get a chance to hug all y'all's necks again, hopefully soon.
Yeah, it'll happen, man. Maybe Flytoberfest.
It's going to be in Ireland.
Maybe 2023.
There we go.
2023. Big hug to you, Paul. It's great hearing from you and just knowing that, like, again, on these shows, we can reach out and hear your voice, and that even though you're doing other things, that an hour here or there is always possible. So it's great. Thank you for joining us.
No, thank you for having me. The pleasure was
Love
all
you, brother.
mine.
Thank you, man.
You guys too. All right.
It was not all
Cheers,
yours.
Paul.
Have a great rest of the show.
Much love. We'll talk to you again soon.
All right. Take care.
Later, man. So awesome. It was so good seeing his face again.
Yep. Who was his partner? I forgot his partner's name. That he did
Noxie.
Noxie, that's right. And Noxie was cool too. And then he did a lot of work with the guy from the moon debunking place, Mr. I can't remember that guy's name either. But anyway, I'd like to get him on Globebusters and talk some more about the Apollo stuff.
Well, it sounds like that would be pretty easy to set up and a good show. So, yeah, put it on your list, Globebusters.
Yeah, I just need to remember his name. It's funny because I was just watching it on the Globebusters 24/7 channel, and Henderson. No, I don't think it's Michael Henderson. Scott Henderson. That's it. Scott Henderson. So yeah, I think I will. I think I'll get him on there.
Well, I thought you were talking about Paul at first. I think Paul would be another one, a fun one to have on from time
Well,
to time.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, Paul too, for sure.
Yeah.
If we can do that. But I mean, Scott Henderson is the guy that did the amazing work with Apollo, and the wet flags and incredible.
That is confirmed by Paul, who put Scott Henderson into the chat, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, are we going to check out these videos, Walt? We can blow everybody else's brain. Didn't this just make you go, huh?
Yeah, let's see it.
I got Victor Gerardo one-handed in the tank,
Oh my god, dude.
Still pouring.
Wow. So does that make me a tree hugger if I said that made me sad watching that?
It does, doesn't it?
Wow.
I got another ass.
Wow.
That's the guy we're freaking Grand Canyon.
That's crazy. Loco. A waterfall. This is down.
That's so strange. I wonder why I've never ever heard of this before.
Wow. That's something else right there. Oh, it's wait, dog. Hey.
Like, who the fuck gets an actual chainsaw?
Yeah, this one will blow your mind too.
I've seen flooded in areas. I've never seen that.
So top that tree flat and make a giant tree and got those giant masons.
Ovo se dešava u zadnjih 20-25 godina, tako možda i koju godinu više. Ovo je drvo staro preko 100 godina, čak možda i 150. Šupljina se stvorila vjerojatno u sredini i izvor podzemni je probio do krošnjih, stvara se ova prelijepa slika koju vidite sad. Legende nema, ovo je nismo ljudi koji su skloni izmišljanju, ovo je sasvim prirodna stvar.
Dude, there's one in here, a guy cutting open the bottom of a tree and pulling catfish out of it.
What? Dude. No, indeed. Now you broken my brain more.
So I know the softer the tree, the softer the wood, the more moisture it's going to hold like that. We had a tree cut down when we first moved in, and the guy that cut it down, he even called it a pissing tree because it's just so wet. You just get soaked when you cut it down because the wood is so soft. It holds so much moisture, that capillary action, because it's so soft and so not dense, that allows for more moisture uptake with that capillary action. So when you cut it,
like
it
a balsa wood tree.
It wasn't a balsa wood tree, but it was a really soft wood.
Like that.
Yeah. Uh-huh. That's why I was wondering about the mulberry, how hard mulberry wood is. But that looks something completely different than the others.
Yeah, I could never imagine an oak tree doing that.
No, I can't either.
No.
I'm reading right now, after pruning and cutting, its branches can be used for making baskets. It is a hard wood, and its texture is more uniform than other wood materials we use. Mulberry tree has a major role in Eastern mythology. Is mulberry wood durable? Rot resistance rated is very durable with good insect resistance and weathering properties. Workability responds well to both hand and machine tools. Does mulberry make good lumber? Although mulberry trees do not produce high quality lumber, their wood is still useful in many other types of application. One type of application is making furniture or other household items. So it's a stable wood. Overall, mulberry is an excellent firewood, top tier heat production hardwood. Interesting. Again, I wonder if it works at all like a straw or if it has some rotted out. And you see that where they're hollow on the inside, some, or again, that was two trees growing together. Again, maybe interest, between that, but that's crazy.
Oh, wait till you see this next one. This next one.
Drop another one. Hold on.
It's not cut as big, and it's just like this fountain spraying out.
God, the catfish tree is unbelievable.
Is that not ridiculous?
That's nuts. I've never seen anything like that.
I'm trying to just find a way where it's fake, but it looks real.
There it must be fake then.
All right, there we go.
You know it's real because it looks so fake.
Looks so fake. Sound. There it is. Go. Wait,
yeah, you could fast forward it, and it'll show him cutting this tree open. Yeah, that was just one. I don't know what
he's one of those guys that goes in and like builds a world with a hatchet. Oh man,
yeah.
Come on, really?
Yeah, get it.
Damn.
I guess I
search and destroy.
Well, I had mine going commercial free.
Search and destroy. I love it.
Multitasking.
And not for nothing, it did sort of look like that tree could have been filled from the top prior to them approaching.
That's what I was thinking too, Josh.
I just noticed that too.
I have my doubts on it, and yeah, I was.
This was a little hank.
Yeah. Yeah, that's.
I'd have to see it again.
Wait, I'll back it up. Right.
Yeah, right there. Look at that.
See the top? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with you, Josh. And they saw that hole, so they knew they could do this. Make a video for YouTube.
Hello.
Nah.
Mr. Joy Fishing, I think this is
yeah, this feels like some clickbait.
Maybe he's in a place where there's a high tide or something, and the catfish gets stuck down in from the top of the tree.
Or he could be just trying to make a viral video. There's a lot of money in that to be.
That looks like a lot of growth for some place that's getting covered in a high
Yeah,
tide.
that'd be underwater. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it definitely looks like he could have just dropped those in there from the top. Okay, that's how he did it. I was going to say, I'd never seen a tree spray water out like that either, though. This is just something I found while I was looking for it, for water coming out of trees.
This is taking forever.
Now the mulberry tree to me was the one that was the only one out of the ones that felt natural and not like possibly set up. And again, I haven't researched more. The mulberry one I'd like to look into a little bit more, but this one here and that other one, I don't know. It's like fishing for truth. People go out of their way in a big way to make scams, and
why would it be all weird and dry like that?
Up and here's a wiggly one. There's no water coming out.
Oh crap! They're still alive. Get out!
Right, yeah. And it's dry. Yeah.
No way.
I think somebody's dropping the live ones in the top.
That's what I was saying, Bob. I was looking for how they faked it.
How they faked it?
Because I can't believe that. I'm not buying it.
Oh well.
No.
That's when I'm gonna have to go cut into a tree and see myself. And yeah, good luck getting me cut into a tree.
Sorry. There's
this girl. I mean, it really touched my heart because she's talking about talk to trees, go talk to them, this and that. But she asked the tree to tap her on her shoulder, and the tree branch lifts up and like touches her shoulder. Oh my goodness. Fishing line pulling. Yeah, fishing line.
Man, come on. Right.
Fishing line just pulling up the tree branch and pulling it over. I mean, it could easily be done. Easily be faked.
There could be some weird plant species that could do it. I mean, look at Venus flytraps. Those things completely trip me out. The way that they respond.
I'm not saying it can't be real. You know me. I love my trees.
Plants, without a doubt. There are out
there. But yeah, I'm gonna ask her.
Show me things like that all the time growing up.
I'll definitely go ask a tree to touch me on my shoulder and see if this works.
For things that don't look real but are, my favorite is the orchid praying mantis. If anybody's got a screen to put it on there, that is the best for things that do not look real but they are. So it can go in both directions. Suppose I could try to do that, but has anybody else looked at those before?
Orchid plant praying mantis?
I'm typing, so I can share a screen once I bring it up, but
man, I saw a baby praying mantis. I showed you, Cammie, when I found it out there. This thing was smaller than my thumbnail. These things are teeny tiny when they're babies or young. I don't know how young it was. I thought they'd be born a little bit bigger than that, though, for as big as they get. I mean, this thing could have stood and stretched out its arms and everything, and it would have been about the length of my thumbnail. Just teeny tiny. I mean, I had to really look at it to figure out.
Which one am I looking for? Exactly.
All of them pulling on one of these. Those are little animals that you had on some of them. They're little animals, and you see their little faces, which my little things above my CRISPR thing. But yeah, look at any given one of these pulled in with their, especially if you see the things.
Whoa, that's crazy.
I know. They look like little furry faces.
I know, it's just like, there it is. That's what I'm thinking. Oh, that's epic. Let me think of a big one here.
You need to get a big one, but you see their little praying mantis face and everything. They're crazy.
And then this guy, I've seen him before. Wait,
and their little pink and orchid.
I've seen him before. Kung Fu guy.
Yeah, the Kung Fu guys, the ones that look like the pretty little orchids. So when you'll get there, yeah, look at that little
Look,
face
he's
in the green.
teeny.
I know.
Oh, bad. Okay, where are these? What part of the world do these exist?
Those ones are in Japan, primarily in Japan. I
can't
looked
think-
at it. We do have very cute praying mantises here,
Oh,
but not
man, what
as
have I
cool as
done?
those ones. I know.
Oh, what have I done?
So the
You
carnivorous
purchase-
plants are really interesting.
I'm buying
I
a
thought.
bug, apparently.
You're buying a ghost praying mantis.
Do you guys-
Oh my goodness.
Know where the Venus flytrap comes from natively?
South Carolina.
Is that not
Venus?
nuts? You would think, right?
It blew my mind when I heard that too, Josh. I was like, "What? You mean the United States, South Carolina? Like,
yeah,
that plant grows native here in this country?
It's
Yeah,
got to
it
be
blew my
further
mind.
Oh,
south.
Zach, you
yeah.
got to plant some in our backyard. I want one
No,
of
they're
those.
down there by Charleston and places like that in the swampier areas.
It's the places that have the alligators, baby. The swampy
I think
ones.
it gets a little too cold up here in the winters. They
that-
wouldn't last through the winters.
We
Wait,
did
there's
that very
much temperature
intentionally.
variation within that one area of your state?
Yeah. Even going
Yeah,
between
South Carolina's
sea level
amazing.
and yeah, it goes. We're at what 800 feet elevation here, something like that.
we're 8 to
600s?
900. 8 to
I mean,
900.
I would get it down here. I'm all the way south, and you go north,
Uh-huh.
Louisiana, it gets cold. But you're within a northern, to me, state that should all be kind of consistently northern state. I don't know. It's
No,
just
we
not
have-
making
Well,
any
it's the
sense.
elevation changes because we have the.
Oh,
the
that's true.
Yeah, we got the
bioregions.
coastal-
Where you at, James?
yeah.
Drew?
Coastal, midline, and upstate. We're upstate, but yeah, it doesn't until you go into the Midlands and that. And I looked at that little demarcation line when we were moving from Colorado and said, I do not want to be. I want to be Greenville and further up upstate, as opposed to like Columbia is where you'll start to get in the rivers, alligators, and a lot more snakes and critters. And then coastal, you start getting a lot of them. But yeah, I'm kind of a wussy coming from Colorado. I was looking at that and things to be scared of in my book that way you went that way, or things that made the creepier things. So
Did we even look at any houses in North Carolina at all?
in North Carolina, we didn't wind up looking at houses because none of the day that we went out and looked for and the day that we bought, the real estate was changing so rapidly that you couldn't plan really.
Oh, yeah, stuff was selling the same day.
It was selling
listed
the same
sales
day. It was, and so it was hard to plan a list. So the ones that came up and that were good on the list, the day we were doing it, were in South Carolina, and the house that we wound up buying came up on the market as the one that we wanted to see and wanted to buy. By the time we drove there, they were like, nope, the people just bought it too late. And another one, the one that we bought, wound up coming back on the market. It fell through on financials for the people before and got thrown back on the market and wasn't even announced yet when we went and bought it. That's how quick it was moving. It was crazy. So yeah. But no, we did not go to North Carolina.
Between Greenville and Spartanburg is like the most seeked for spot in the country for buying a new home right now. It's crazy.
Yeah,
It's crazy
And
how quickly
you
they
know, Zach,
turn you.
we got so lucky when we sold our house in Colorado because we sold it for over market value, and
In one day.
in one day. And now Cammie's brother lives there, and they bought this house up in the mountains. I don't know if you ever went up there or not, but
He
the
did. He
house
loves
is
it.
absolutely beautiful. And when they got it all done, it was gorgeous, and it should have been worth probably $1.5 million, in that area. And they just reduced it to what, 800,000, and they can't sell it.
Yeah,
Man.
up in the mountains, the market is going back down on there.
Yeah,
It's hard.
Colorado is just going
Timing
to
is
hell in a
hard.
handbasket. Yep.
Well, and look at what happened around here. I mean, since you guys bought the house, the property value around here has gone way up.
Well, that's because I came here.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy how much it's gone up. You guys got in at the right time. You got in before.
We were
all
being
the values
guided by
really
something,
skyrocketed.
man.
Yeah, I'm
'Cause
telling
we
you.
had no idea what the hell we were doing. We were just going with the flow, literally.
It was almost. It
When you
was like
do
obsessed.
when you do what that little voice tells you to, it's crazy how the creator just takes care of everything and lines it all up for you.
And it was.
Yeah,
It was
it's wild.
obsessed to move to a state that again I'd only been to visiting. First or I think after, first to see Caribbean, and then, I brought you back where we went back solo return there, but we've been all kinds of places, and it was like, again, moving to a place that in South Carolina, we really didn't know anybody at all. Karen was in North Carolina, but,
Yeah, I
again,
would have
just
bought Karen's
obsessed.
house. I
Oh,
love Karen's house.
I love
Got a
Karen's house,
beautiful
yes.
house. Beautiful house, beautiful property. I mean, you got it going on there, girl.
It wasn't in
It's a
our
nice
budget at the
place.
time, but yeah, I think we would have stretched our budget for that place. It's so wonderful. It feels good. The land around it just feels good. It's feels right. Crystals and
You
forests and
guys
trees
deserve it.
and
Truly, y'all
river.
do. Y'all are a beautiful family. As
Mhm.
I've gotten to know y'all over the years, what you've done for the community, what you do for people, meeting your son, playing games with him, you guys are amazing. So you guys deserve this life y'all are building over there. For damn sure.
Well, thank you. We appreciate that. We're really proud of Jern. I mean, I cannot believe how well he is doing. I mean, he keeps knocking these bounties down left and right, and they
All
are
right, no doubt.
big dollar items. I mean, holy crap, they pay a lot of money.
Okay, Dad, but yeah, no, they do. But
I'm
yeah,
not going to
he's
mention any dollar values, but it ain't low. I'll tell you that. It's amazing, and he literally fell right into it. I mean, it went from getting a cease and demand notice 5 years ago to now they're bringing him on as an apprentice. And
They
he's,
say do what you love and the money will follow. So there you
yepper,
go.
it's incredible. And I'm very proud of my son, very much
He's
so.
awesome. He's awesome.
Well, I'm proud of all my kids, but Jern's obviously the last one still at
Well,
home.
he's the only one I've met through the internet yet. So
Yeah, well, my other one lives in my daughter lives in Colorado, and my other son, my oldest son, he's originally from Seattle. Then he moved to South Korea, and then he moved to New York, and then he moved back to South Korea, and there he is. So, and he really likes it there.
I hear it's beautiful.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. But yeah,
the pictures are the cutest ever because, like his father, he's well over 6 foot, and so you have, and he's adorable. But you have this adorable, over 6 foot, very big person, and all of his friends in Korea are like a foot and a half smaller than him, and it's adorable. I mean, he loves it there. It's very obviously warm and welcoming people. And I don't know, there's just something about it that just makes me smile. It almost makes me think of Owen Benjamin being Big Bear, just in a crowd or whatever, because he's a little bit over 6 foot, but it's kind of like the Owen Benjamin Big Bear happy effect.
All right.
Yep,
I'm glad
cool.
he's happy.
Who are we having on next week?
Who indeed?
Who
Is
indeed?
Is it
maybe you should have
Jerry?
Scott Henderson
I
on.
know
Jerry
some
next
people.
week.
I know some people that's coming next week.
Yep. Next week.
Yeah,
Jerry will be back. He'll be bringing Anon, and Sherry Sweeney will be coming along as well. So this should be amazing.
Yeah,
Get
this
your
will be a
questions
Q&A.
together, everybody. They're planning on interacting with chat quite a bit, so have your questions.
Yeah, they wanted to do a Q&A where everybody from the chat could ask questions and stuff. And
Yeah.
I know a lot of you were here and saw the Jerry Marzinski. The first interview is a lot more in-depth. The second one was him kind of telling stories and Anon blew me away. Really.
Anon broke my brain. I still have the tab open on my computer from that day when I looked up Chernobyl or however you say it. It's still the first tab open on my desktop. That picture. Yeah.
You guys
my family about that, and they're just like, wow, they've forgotten about all of those strange things because they block it. They don't want to deal with that world. Sorry, go ahead, Bob.
I was just wondering if you guys had current contact information for Paul still. I imagine you do.
Absolutely.
Okay, because Paul, if you're still listening, if you could get me Scott Henderson's contact information, I'd love to, have him on the show again, because that guy is amazing.
That's so funny, Bob.
Huh?
You do not read the chat because just a few minutes ago in the chat, Paul chimed in saying, "Bob, if you need to get Henderson's contact information, let me know, and if you need my information, Josh has it." So he typed it all in
the Ether, man.
In the Ether, it was all on there, right?
That's funny. Yes, Paul, I do. In a matter of fact, but yeah, Scott Henderson is absolutely incredible. And when you watch his presentations, and some of the stuff that was blatantly missed was so obvious. It's like, oh my God, I couldn't believe the flag, on the moon was soaking wet, and there were all these wet spots all over the moon. It looks like it had just finished raining, quite literally. And it comes to find out that where they actually were, they were filming from a junkyard or a landfill or something like that in Arizona. It's like, oh my God, incredible. But that guy's amazing. So maybe you should have him on too sometime, Josh.
Absolutely. Is this the one that he had assembled like just a whole lot of great things like that and made it into kind of a
Yeah, he's got tens of
documentary?
thousands of hours.
America something was something to do with the title. Damn it. It almost came to me. But yeah, that's the one that helped me with my buddy, like truly for life. Drew is my buddy forever since we were 8. And been through all the same, paths of questing and rabbit holes, and he's that same kind of guy now who can accept lies everywhere until we get into space. And it's like, why would they not lie about that too? And so then finally, with that video, he finally went like, okay, I give. We did not go to the moon. So yeah, it's great stuff. I would definitely like to have him on. So
yeah,
let's
that'd
make
be
it
a great
happen.
guest to have. Yeah. But yeah, next week, Jerry Marzinski and the crew. That's going to be, I can't wait.
And then have we
I still
got
have,
And then the week after that,
we have Mike set? Okay, you do.
We should have Mike set. There is a possibility of a camping trip. His son and he are getting together. And I told him if he does that, but if he was not sure on it, so he'll let us know if that happens and he can't make it, in which case we'll reschedule. But right now it's looking like he will be on the Friday after, and that would also be a great Q&A.
Well, the Friday after is actually already, that's the 5th.
No, the 29th, I think. The 29th.
Well, no, the 29th would be the one he would be here. So Jerry's going to be here the 22nd. Mike would be here the 29th. The 5th is already set. We've got our buddy Campbell is going to be here.
Perfect.
It's going to be here.
I love Campbell, so that's perfect. So if not, we'll bump him
either
until
the 29th or anywhere after.
Perfect.
So we could reach out to Billy Ray actually and get him in here on the 29th.
I think it's about time. I think it's getting to be that point. It's
time to.
Time to get him on.
So, just in case everybody wonders, on our pre-show on Wednesdays, no, this is never talked about. That's game time.
You do production, man. Why?
We're doing live production, but it's looking.
But see,
really
this way
good.
it's committed. We can't get out of it. We won't forget it. It's definitely we will have these people on, or we'll hear about it later. No, it's all set. I looked at my calendar again to make sure I wasn't getting the dates wrong.
Somewhere out there, I've got an Iron Rail Media calendar just for this, so I can.
For that
stuff,
hey, yeah.
Campbell's going to be on the 29th or on the 5th. Check. Mike on the 29th, and we're going to have.
Right, I remember that.
Yeah, it's still there somewhere. I just don't ever use it.
We just never use it.
Yeah.
Again, what would be the fun of that? Better
yeah,
find
after our little break
pants.
we took, man, we've been on fire with the guests. I don't think we've. Maybe 1 week.
One or two, maybe. Yeah. Not very many, though.
That's cool, though. I like that. I like catching up.
Yeah. Yeah. And Paul, man, that's a blast from the past.
Yeah, I was really pumped when I saw him reach out.
Watching that.
He's doing some stuff that I want to talk about with him, too.
I do, too. I want to talk about it bad. I was itching at the end, but I stopped because I didn't want to open that can yet.
Yeah. But there's lots of people I want to catch back up with. D Marble, fuck, haven't talked to D Marble in years. Same as Noxie. We haven't talked to Noxie in a hot minute, or Candy for that matter. Fucking Candy.
Right? Yeah, whatever happened to her?
No shit.
She moved to somewhere on the West Coast, and then she moved back to North Carolina. Is that right?
Right.
That sounds right. I'm not entirely sure. And she went dark. I don't know. I see her just on very rare occasion, I think. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's weird how people just disappear for, long periods of time and then they pop up again and you're like, whoa. you know. But again, it just seems like, for me anyway, the past 7 years have gone by like lightning. I can't even
me too, Bob.
fathom it.
Me too. When I really look at what's gone on, like mentioning that earlier with Paul about being in Oregon at the beginning of 2020 when all this began, and it's like, wow, was that really that recent? But it seems so long ago, and yet it just happened. It's like it's such a weird compression, decompression. It's like time just fluxes during this thing we started doing. I don't know. It's just crazy. When you're doing a show, it just time is it's not even a thing anymore.
Oh,
I can't believe it's already 7:30. Feels like we just had Paul for a second.
Yeah, he didn't seem like he was on very long.
I know, man.
Well, looky there.
So much more.
We'll just knock out Billy Ray Valentine's show right now.
Oh,
Billy Ray just pops up in chat. We can just have him on. We just do it and be done.
Hey, come on down.
Although I guess there is
Billy Ray.
other notices that need to be given before that conversation happens, I suppose.
Yeah, you haven't even changed the show name to Paul on the.
I thought he had done
Paul
that.
I thought I did too. I've done it through Restream twice. Whether it's showing up anywhere else, I don't know. I think Rockfin should be changed. I'm pretty sure I did change Rockfin to Paul on the Realm.
Yeah, I thought about that name. And I went, wow, that's a great name. That's what they should name the show.
That is a good name. Although I was
Paul on the Realm.
I did awfully like my other one. On the Plane with Lindbergh, baby. But that's, I'm just dumb.
Let's see, what do we have here on Rockfin? Have no sphere, Paul on the Realm. Yep, there you go.
So right now, everybody gets their way. We got YouTube on the Plane with Lindbergh. Gotta love that one too. So we got it all, like different titles, different platforms. It all works. Same great show.
That's right.
Yep. Currently watching 6 on Rockfin.
How about you, Bob? What you got coming up this Sunday?
Well, we're just continuing going through the basics. What we did for the midweek show is we just basically ripped up all the reasons why the ball doesn't work. Because, I mean, we've done so many proofs for Flat Earth. It's just like, that's old hat. But what people don't really know how to deal with is when the ballers come at them and they talk about, oh, well, how do you deal with eclipses? How do you explain an eclipse on the Flat Earth? How do you explain moon phases? How do you explain yada, 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 right? Well, we answer those questions. And then we show the idiocy of the ball Earth explanation for that. And how, it's typically impossible or, not likely or whatever. But I just kind of was seeing in the community, a lot of people, they're very enthusiastic about Flat Earth. But as far as technical breakdown of it, whoa. Nothing against the community, but man, a lot of people were really lacking. And so I just thought we need to get back to basics on this stuff and going over these things, their claims and our claims in depth, and why their claims are bogus and why our claims are legitimate, right? So that's what we're doing. That's kind of the direction I'm taking it.
Well, I love it.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea, and a lot of people really are in favor of going back to the basics. I always thought it's like, really, I got to do this again. That when you're kind of teaching it, when you do a show on it and stuff like that, just like you said earlier in the show, it's like when you talk about Flat Earth all the time, it's like there's only so far you can go. But the thing is people want to hear that content. It doesn't matter if it is redundant or repetitive. They like to hear it. They like to hear different takes on it, fresh input on it. Even if it's an old topic, people really want to hear that because, like I said, when you get infected with the Flat Earth bug, you're craving it.
You want it.
Right?
You need it. Yep,
Yeah,
absolutely. And it is exactly right. You go down the rabbit hole. You keep looking for more videos. You keep trying to figure it out. There's so many areas, so many ramifications here that you have to figure out. So,
exactly.
Yeah. And then, we know from Dave's app that this thing is continually growing. There's just,
yeah.
And we don't do it enough. We do. We talked about that with Paul, that we kind of stopped flat earthing a bit, just because it's like, yeah, we're there, it's flat. What else? Let's meet some more people, But yeah, the 101, the primer, it needs to be out there for the new people, because it's hard to find that stuff, even with the app, even with your great 24/7, Glowbuster 24/7. Some of the stuff's just hard to find when you want to find it.
Yeah, exactly. Bill Wall in the chat says, "Get hungry for truth, not just flat earth." And Bill, I agree with that.
Absolutely.
Totally.
I think that's the catalyst, man. When you find that to me was even more like of a Band-Aid pull-off, eye-opener. It was like, oh my God, what else can I find?
Yeah, I mean, I was a conspiracy theorist and researcher for over 30 years before I even came across the flat earth topic. But the thing is, Bill, is there are not enough people that are focusing solely on flat earth and teaching it. And, so that's kind of the role that I cast Glowbusters in. So that, well, nobody else is doing this in such a way. I mean, there are other people like Nathan has his debate show, but, that's still very, very different from what we do. I try and break things down and explain them, like when Zach and I were talking about, well, how does what we call gravity occur, right? This whole electrostatic thing. Well, first of all, you have to realize that we're not on a ball earth. We're on a flat earth. We're in an enclosure. We have basically an electrical circuit going on where you have two Gaussian plates and a charge at the top and a charge at the bottom. And when you do this and you breadboard this in an engineering lab, you will get a field of voltage that goes up in a linear fashion, like your 100 volts per meter, at different points along the way, right? So what I did is I made the comparison to that exactly, and then showed how that downward current flow, that downward attraction, is actually the downward bias that is holding us down. I mean, like I said, I've always said density and buoyancy are, they're primary, but there still has to be something that determines that prime direction of down. And that's it. That's what it is. And this doesn't work in outer space because there is no outer space. And, NASA's got this whole thing so tied up, with their nonsense about gravity being the thing that, orbits planets and space shuttles and all this stuff. That is a complete fantasy, 100%. We all know it. And, so what people really want is they want an explanation within known physics, right? And what we're teaching about how this works is very well known physics, and it's demonstrable. I mean, Zach has actually demonstrated it with his generator. We've shown how we can reverse the polarity and draw things up because all things are attracted to electrostatics. They're affected by electrostatic voltage, period. And so, that's what I want to show. Start that from the ground up. What makes the stars do what they do? Why is astrology, why is it shunned now? And why is it always revered as such an incredible science? Well, it's because the stars are points of energy that create this matrix. And each constellation, if you will, has its own energy output, its own cymatic pattern that affects different parts of our consciousness, right? And that's the kind of stuff that people really want to hear about, And, even if they think that we're just spitballing, and a lot of it we are, when we admit that, a lot of it can be backed up.
Some of it is backed up by history and culture.
And grounded science.
And science, obviously. But I mean, when you look back on things, you see it so many times over and over and over. There's the cosmic egg. There's the electrostatic. There's, pick it, man. You find it in history, hidden away, tucked in a corner. Somebody finds it.
Yep. And the cool thing about it, Walt, is people are now starting to talk about it a lot. And I couldn't be happier. Granted, I have taken so much shit from people, saying, oh, yeah, you're the guy that believes in gravity. You're crazy, all this stuff. It's like, no, I don't believe in gravity. You got it all wrong. We're trying to explain something completely different that is applicable only to our own realm. And at first, you guys know this as well as I did. Look at the internal resistance, even within Glowbusters. I mean, God, Jared and Hero,
if anyone knows, we know here at the realm.
Yeah, and you guys went through it as well. I mean, it literally breaks up relationships. It's like that's insane, but it's obviously a very
But it's
passionate
important,
thing.
and yeah, people are passionate when it comes to stuff that's important. You can't help but be passionate.
Yeah,
If you're
but
real, if you're true about it. I mean, and trust me, I get as man, especially early on, Michelle would talk me down off the edge of like just almost shouting at somebody. I was so worked up and excited and trying to get my point across. And she'd be just like, calm down. You know, they're not ever going to listen if you're talking that way. So it's hard. It's definitely hard. This stuff works you up, man. It's part of it's important. It's why we're here, you know. It's the fight we're in.
Yep. So I look at it as basically it's the truth going through the 3 levels of acceptance, right? No, there's not gravity, but there is something that we call gravity that is created by a very well-known force, especially if you understand that we are within a closed realm and an electric realm. This entire creation is electric. That is undeniable. So now people are actually starting to talk about it, and it's really cool to hear.
They had to go as far back in, I think it was 1921, and say that there's this thing called the ionosphere. Can't recreate it in a lab. Impossible. It totally breaks the laws of electricity, the way they say it works and happens. But it has to be there because they know this electric field can't act the way it does linearly, like it does 100 volts, 200, 300, 400. On a sphere, it would fall off at the inverse square rate. It would be 100, 200, 400, 800, 1600.
Yeah,
and
the voltage distribution would be completely different.
Yeah, and we can measure that. I mean, anybody can go out there for less than $200 now and take measurements of Earth's electric field and say, hey, yeah, this actually does do it at this rate. So they couldn't hide it. It wasn't something that they could, sweep under the rug. They knew people would be testing this in the future. So they had to just magically create the ionosphere, which still to this day has never been recreated.
Yep. So one of the things that I showed on yesterday's show was I've always said that if you're going to find gravitational anomalies, you're going to find electromagnetic anomalies and stuff like that. And so you've all heard of like these places called magnetic mountains, right? Well, one of the local channels, the Impossible channels, went out and had a couple features on there that people were actually measuring with a level, right? Because they say, mainstream will tell you, oh, it's all an optical illusion. It's like, no, it's not all an optical illusion. In fact, I would say this is probably more real than optical illusion, but they actually had people that were taking levels and putting it right on the ground next to the car. The level went one way and the car rolled the other, right? And again,
really?
Yeah,
I haven't seen that.
Oh yeah. This was on yesterday's show. And you look at that and it's like, okay, how does mass attracting mass or bendy space-time explain that? It doesn't. It can't. But if you have something that is affecting the voltage variance, the scale of the voltage, where you can have areas that are more dominant in this downward force because maybe there's a high mineral content or possibly a high metal content or something like that. And almost always there's a magnetic anomaly that accompanies this. Well, then in the electric model, what Zach and I are talking about, it makes perfect sense that something could be drawn backwards up a downhill, right? And so we explain that. And the fact is that there are places that are like this. They're real, but the mainstream would like you to believe that it's all an optical illusion. And it just isn't.
Yeah, I actually did one of these. It's only a 3-something minute video. If somebody would like to play it, I'll drop it in chat.
Absolutely.
But me and my mom went and did this at one I found near my house. And
Okay, give me a second here.
You'll hear it in her voice. Yeah, Ian, we showed a video yesterday on Glowbusters of actual water flowing up the hill.
Yeah,
they had
it was crazy.
The level on the flume. They were dropping little bits of leaves into the water, and it was showing which way it was flowing. It was crazy.
Yep, level pointed one way, water went the other. It's like, well, that's interesting, don't you think?
Well, I have completely lost the video. So I don't know what I did. I had it open, then I closed it. Sorry, guys. Give me a second.
Yeah, when I went, I was planning on, getting out of the car and putting levels down and this and that, but it was a busy road. Not the right time of day to go. No place to pull off to the side. So we just went and passed it a couple times, and yeah,
Okay.
it was
I
fun.
finally got it open. Hold on. Let me get
As I say, I've got it queued if you want me to play it here, Walt.
I got it, man. It just
Okay.
is acting up. So thank you, though.
No worries.
All right.
All right, folks. Hello, everybody out there in YouTube land. Good times for all, or Zachary Zabala here if you prefer. I'm at Gravity Hill, and we are rolling uphill, folks. My foot is not on the gas, not even close to it. I have a good friend of mine here to witness it. And, yeah, we're just rolling up this hill. It's crazy. It's definitely an incline.
Where is this at?
But we're just
It
rolling.
was between Lake and Porter County in Indiana.
I'm going to pull in here.
Right on county line. This is county line road that we're on.
Yeah, this is kind of a busy road right now. I must be here I'm going to have to come here at night to try this. But I believe there might be something to this. This is pretty neat.
Yep, and boy, you were right on the money, Zach. There's definitely something
I'm not even
to
going to
it.
get my level out just yet. It's definitely an incline. I mean, look at it. It
EMF
is
meter
definitely
there.
going uphill. It's got nothing to do with the surrounding
I know.
area.
I was about to say it has nothing to do with other mountain edges and all the other crap I've seen them throw at this.
No, Indiana's flat, dude.
Right.
Checking his mailbox.
If there's a little elevation at all, any incline, you know.
Yeah, and forward or backwards, no matter which way we go, we stop at 1016 right here, this mailbox. I mean, it's almost instantaneous. As soon as I put it in neutral, take my foot off the gas, and we start rolling backwards.
What the hell? Now, come on.
And as you can see, we're going up a hill.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. Musicians for Truth says there are many of those around the plane. And yes, there are. This is not an isolated anomaly.
I'm going to come back here at night and check all this out with the level and
see
how
this is
far
one of
up
those
this
things
hill we'll
I had
actually
looked
go.
into, unfortunately, too many years ago, and it kind of
this is
put
really
away.
eerie.
It's like, blah blah blah, whatever. As I said, mountain edges, views of angles, whatever.
Now it is a hill that way.
But this kind of stuff, yeah, this is just.
Yeah, and of course, this would be a very good reason why the mainstream would want you to believe that it's an optical illusion.
Of course they would. I mean, again, that was so many years ago that I still was going, well, let me see what whoever's says.
They can't even explain gravity, let alone
this
the
was
anomalies.
pre-internet. I mean, this was me looking into it in like the library. This was way before.
Yeah,
the
now we
internet.
did come to a complete stop. So I don't know.
No.
It's pretty busy on this road right now.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, it's pretty busy, so
that was fun.
I'm gonna have to come back here at night.
Yeah, my mom always liked doing stuff like that. I would tell her about something, and then she'd want to go see.
She'd get into it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, Bob and Zach, both of you, if you're interested in a roadmap, I have my directions up right now for the nearest gravity hill to us. It's on the other side of Charlotte in North Carolina, and would take us
see a new video.
120,
let's go.
Cammie gets to use
127
her
miles.
new video intro.
That's right. 2 hours and 8 minutes. Can you play it on here, Zach? It's really, Zach, Walt made me a new video intro. It's very, very cool. It's short, sweet, and I love it. Crystallized.
Let me find it.
Other things I want to, and I'll drop into the chat. I put that in there if anybody wants to play. But Flatlanders episode 2, The Plain Truth, is now out, featuring Rob Skiba. Very special.
It's out. They released it already.
It is released. It is on Vimeo. Flatlanders, The Truth. I'm going to drop a link in.
Yeah, it was really well done.
Extremely well done. Also featuring my husband, Bob Nodell. This is some of the best produced and put together. I think it is. It's the best I've seen as far as the quality. They
She
did
did a
with
great
the
job.
time. She did a great job.
She really did. I was very impressed. The thing that kind of bothered me was she did not really cover what happened in Behind the Curve. Because I went through that on the interview as well, and maybe that'll come later. But
That might be later, but this was a specific. I thought she did great for staying on
oh
topic.
yeah. I mean, this section of it was excellent. So okay, we're seeing a Cammy thing.
Yeah, I was showing this for Cammy. I misunderstood. Was there something else I was supposed to share? Cammy,
Well, you have to make it go. You have to make it play.
go.
Oh, well, I will. I just was waiting for you guys to get
okay.
to the discussion. I didn't want to just start playing it. Not bad. Here we go. It's not that long.
Oh, so cool.
That's cool.
I love it. I love it. Now I just need to make some videos or even some shorts.
Beginning of your Gravity Hill video.
Exactly, in the Gravity Hill video, or if I want to swipe little pieces and excerpts, I do have a interview coming up Monday that we did a pre-record while they were doing the Globebuster show that I believe is premiering Monday night on KGUP Presents. I always call it KGUP Presents. That's my key for those that know I'm in the chat. But we did do a recording, and those that like the nerdy stuff, I know we got into magnetic deviation, aka declination, and moon and sunrises and sets and perspective and magnetic fields and how they would affect the way that you view things. So if we have any nerdy nerds in the chat and want to catch an interview with me and Mikey, that's coming up Monday. And I'll put a thing on that to his channel. But Flatlanders is what I did with what they did was, and what Shelley put together was absolutely fabulous. And so I would suggest to everybody, if they can, watch it on Vimeo, whatever it is, a couple of dollars. I know that it's worth it. It's so worth it to have us so well represented in such a professional way that you could show this to anyone and share with anyone. Again, with proofs on why we don't live on a spinning ball. I can't recommend it highly enough.
Yeah. No, we won't talk about this tonight. It's almost over. I was going to say, Bob, we'll save it for a tech show.
What's that?
Oh, you're teasing us now.
How a Tesla coil, like the Tesla's tower, wasn't grabbing free energy from the air. That wasn't what it was designed to do. It was designed to send out electricity wirelessly. And I get it now. If this video is how it actually works, it's amazing. It makes sense too.
Yeah, I'm still trying to wrap my head around it, but it does seem to make sense. But it is so different from what we are taught as common knowledge in electrical circuits. It's just like what they're talking about there has no place at all in electrical engineering training modern day. I mean, they don't even cover that stuff, and it's hugely important.
Yeah, different world.
Totally.
And just think, if it wasn't run on Hertzian electricity being put into it the way we do it, but if it was ran on volts per second, the way Tesla intended it to do with spark gaps and things like that. And I was thinking about that, like a spark gap. What if a spark gap is like, because you can change it by, adjusting it. But what if that's like high fidelity that you got from a record because it's more natural and raw? And what we do is like digitalize the electricity almost using transistors, which changes it completely.
Yeah. Well,
I think spark gaps is a key to something.
It uses a different type of wave, Zach. I mean, when we propagate stuff like this, it's usually through an EM wave, and it's in a very specific configuration. But what they're talking about is the creation of a transverse wave using a voltage that is conforming to a specific shape, and that shape just happens to be a toroid.
Yeah, like a tree of life.
I'm picturing like
amazing.
Victor Schauberger of electricity, like maintaining the purity and the natural form of the electricity, whereas you can manipulate it and send it over those 90-degree turns and push it and move it, but it's not going to be the exact same water that you started with. But most people won't know the difference.
Right. Exactly. Well, and we have what's interesting, we have a John Ellis water machine. I don't know if you've ever heard of those, Josh, but it's basically a water distiller, but it also has, what it does is it circulates the water in a pot. It goes around in circles. And when it is being boiled or ionized, while it's in its so-called gaseous state, it's subjected to a full spectrum high intensity light. And in theory, this process changes the bonding angle of the water. And that's what makes it really, really so astounding and works so well. And of course, those stupid things are like $3,000. Or what did we pay for ours, Cammy? It was ridiculous. Still have it, but it's a lot of money too. And it wastes a lot of water too.
I was going to ask, is it efficient? No,
not at all.
Terrible as far as efficiency. I don't know if it was that much, but it was expensive. And yeah,
Isn't it like 5 gallons to make 1 gallon of water?
Oh, it's worse than that. It's worse than that.
Lord,
we used to fill up the hot tub with the discharge, and boy, that was the nicest water in the world to sit in. Oh wow, would that feel good?
I bet.
Yeah, it felt like you were floating on champagne bubbles. I mean, it's indescribable how that water felt. But yeah, it's just amazing, when you change things like that. And Schauberger knew this. A lot of these pioneers knew that there were certain processes that you could put things through that would really, really bring them to high efficiency and make the most out of them. And all those things have been hidden from us.
Yeah.
The bastards.
Those bastards.
Well, I take that back. I just looked, and maybe we should sell it. But John Ellis, Living Water Machine 2850, delivered by July 20th.
Told you. Yeah, we still have ours, and it works fine. But and I would like to do that. So when we change the hot tub water, we should get some 5-gallon things, make a bunch of John Ellis water, and fill up the hot tub with it, the discharge.
You guys should collect the rainwater, make the John Ellis water with rainwater, and then use that discharge to fill up your hot tub.
Yeah, that would be good too. That would probably even be way better. Because we get a lot of rain down here, and it's such a clean rain too. It's awesome.
Well, hell, you're right there by the river. You can pull off the river.
I was just about to say, pull it from the river. Hell, it's getting clean all the way down. You got that little fall right there, helping wash it a little more.
Yeah, that's true.
All that.
We'd have to put a pretty good filter system on it first.
I was going to say, I don't know how clean it is, right?
It's a muddy water
I think
here.
I got my ionizer around here somewhere. We could test the water, see how it is. I'm pretty sure it's probably not the cleanest, being a creek on top of the water, and we're this far down the hill, because it all comes from the mountains. Who knows who's pouring what on its way down the hill?
As cold as a mountain stream.
But I'm telling you, the cleanest mountain water I found was up in New Mexico in Bonita Falls. It was right outside of Ruidoso, up in the mountains, one of the mountains there, mountain ranges. And I think it was the Capitan Mountains, but just gorgeous. I mean, that's where I saw and heard an elk for the first time, like 20 feet away from my tent. I was camping by this little creek, and they were drinking water from the creek, and it sounded like a velociraptor from what are those movies?
Jurassic Park.
Yeah, the Jurassic Park. An elk makes a crazy whistle noise. Like, you would not think an elk made that noise.
You remember those tubes, those plastic like accordion tubes you'd spin and it would make a little whistle? That's making an elk sound. Yeah.
Yes. Crazy noise. But I heard velociraptor when it woke me up to like 2 o'clock in the morning. That's what I heard outside my tent until I opened up the thing and looked.
Yeah. I've been out walking in the middle of the woods at nighttime and heard a fox, but really heard, I don't know, some creepy faceless witch roaming around ready to suck the soul from my nose. I don't know what the fuck it was, but it scared the fuck piss out of me. You don't fuck around with no fox in the middle of the woods at night.
They make some crazy noises, yeah.
If you don't mind the sound of a woman being murdered, it's not that big a deal. But other than that, shit's kind of scary.
Yeah, creepy stuff. You know, the thing that always sent chills on my spine was when they supposedly dropped that microphone down the really big borehole.
Hellhole.
Oh my God, the sound that came back out of
Giving me
that.
chills just thinking about it. Bob.
I know, right?
That thing one night on the way home, I used to drive home when I would get off at the casino at 4 a.m. I would drive home, and that was time to hear Coast to Coast. And it was the old school. And one night they talked about it and played that shit. And so I went home, chilled up, terrified. But another night they had somebody on talking about EVP, electro voice phenomena, how some kids had been playing with a cassette recorder in the room, and suddenly the blank tape has voices. Not only does the blank tape have voices, the clear area of the tape with no magnetic oxide on it somehow was playing fucking scary voices. And when they played that thing, dude, that was something evil. Whatever they recorded on that tape was chilling to my soul. It's chilling me up right now.
Well,
I've looked for that.
Demons of the electrical realm.
Oh yeah. Jerry knows. He'll be here. But that thing, man, that hole you're talking about, I could probably find that and play it right now.
Mm-hmm. Yes, everybody, make sure to set your calendar. Jerry will be here next Friday, and it's a question and answers from the chat. He wants to really get your guys' questions and answer anything you have. I mean, this is a rare opportunity. You get to ask somebody who was schizophrenic. I mean, he was put in an institution. And
does he know much about life after death or anything like that? Does he talk about that at all?
I don't know. I don't think we've ever really breached that topic too much with him.
Because, there are some people that, if you've ever listened to them, I can't for the life of me recall who it is, but there are several people that are out there that will do hypnotic regressions to people in other lives, and then they will go and actually verify this stuff, right?
Absolutely.
And it's absolutely amazing. And some of the stuff that they come up with, like when you die, you go into this place called the Between the Lives area, BLA. Mm-hmm. And it's at that point where you will meet your relatives, your guardian angels, your guide angels, et cetera, and you talk about your life here and all this stuff. And of course, this is the whole thing that's got me suspicious about whether or not these beings are benevolent or not, Mm-hmm. And so I'm always interested in stuff like that. So if anybody knows a guest like that, wow.
Sorry. When my father-in-law was passing in 2019, sorry, give me a sec. It was a long process, unfortunately. They had him there in the hospital and all kind of drugs, and it was terrible.
Sorry, Walt. Is your mic away a little bit?
Oh, I may be messing my sound up because I was going to share this. Let me stop. Is that better? No?
Yeah. You sound fine to me.
Okay. So as he was passing, he would have these dreams, and they were always interesting. But this one that he told us just touched me deeply and really made me think about what you're talking about, those places that are not just past life regressions, but people who had near death experiences talk about those different realms as well. And so father-in-law told us about the dream where he was going to be inside the golden dome, golden room, golden ball. That was it, the golden ball. He would be inside the golden ball, and he would have to be there for a long time. But once he left there, he could have any house he wanted. Oh, God, chills. He could have any house he wanted. And he could pick his favorite house. He could pick the best house there ever was because it was his choice. But he was going to figure out a way to get out of there first and get away from that gold ball. Dude, I'm freaking out telling y'all this shit. So it really, to me, sounded like that whole idea of something trapping you somewhere you really don't want to be and then kind of shuffling you back through this system again. Yep. He wasn't going to do that shit. He was ready to get the hell out of here. He was going to figure his way out of that gold ball.
I believe this entire realm is all about that. I really do. And, you know, that it seems like everything is directed towards that. You know, religion, of course, like I said, Christians are raised to believe that, you know, if you repent for your sins and all that, then you get to come back to earth and live with Jesus as your king and all this stuff, yada, yada, yada. But it's like, why is everything always coming back to earth? And, you know, what about the rest of existence? To me, that never made any sense, you know. And of course, if you study any Wes Penra's work at all, he tells you point blank that, you know, we're basically being our energy is being siphoned by these beings, right? Whether, you know, whatever you want to name them. And that's what's really going on in this realm. And so, you know, while I don't condemn anybody for their religion or anything like that, I would advise them to look very deeply into what that religion is telling them, right? And really trust your instincts on it. Because, you know, I really, really would love to believe that there is something or someone out there that is entirely benevolent, that we are, without a doubt, everything about us is loved and our best interests are being looked out for. But I just can't buy that. I just can't, you know? And I think that, you know, if this life teaches us anything, it tells us that there's deception everywhere.
Yes,
the God of this world is supposedly the king of deception, right? So why would that change? You know, I don't know, just things I think about all the time.
Me too, Bob. Don't worry, man. I went through a lot of this dealing with the father-in-law passing and then going through 2020 with my mom passing, talking to her, trying to tell her the things that I've thought about. You know, I can't tell her this is how it is, that this is true, that this is what she'll encounter, but I definitely don't think it'll be some golden guy on a throne, you know, sitting there benevolently smiling down, going, welcome home. And if it is, you might want to question that fucker.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
Yeah, we had some interesting conversations.
And I hate to be so skeptical that you're actually cynical. You know what I mean? But how can you come out when you see the truth of what's going on in this world so clearly? How could you not question everything? You know, especially the afterlife. And especially when you see what the elite are trying to do with these agendas to try and mechanize our consciousness, right? And make an interface with AI. It's like there's definitely more than meets the eye going on here. Absolutely, positively is. And like I said, I've said it before, I'll say it again. This deception extends into the afterlife. I'm sure of it. To what level? I'm still working on it, you know?
Yeah, I think, you know, maybe that's all part of the whole some people can see when shown, and others they can't see. Maybe those that can't see, they're just doomed to come back here again and do it once over. You know, those that can see when shown, they might have a little more tough time getting out of that golden ball.
Yeah,
and those that, you know, it's like you have to build yourself up to be able to think critically about everything.
Exactly.
You know?
Interesting choice of word when you say, "Oh, they doomed to come back." Is that really a doom? Or, I mean, if we're eternal beings, then even if we were trapped in this place for 100 billion years, right? That's still a drop in the bucket to eternity, right? But still not something I would like to entertain the idea of. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot about the two twins speaking in the womb, about nothing outside of, you know, this place. The two of them sitting there conversing back and forth, and, well, who is this mother? Why hasn't mother shown herself?
So,
you know?
your memory, Bob. I've never asked you this question. Do you remember your childhood? Well, details.
I have some very interesting things about my childhood that scare the hell out of me, Walt, and I'll tell you one of those right now. When I was young in elementary school, I was diagnosed as being very exceptional. They didn't have the term ADD back then.
Right.
But they diagnosed as being extremely high IQ. I was very hyper to the point where they were giving me 500 milligrams of dexedrine twice a day.
Wow.
Right? Yeah. And here's the kicker. When I went to school, they put me in this program. It was a place called Mariposa Day School in Denver. And this place was for kids like me, right? That were very smart, but I guess I would call it ADD or whatever they call it now. They didn't have a term for it then, nor did they know what to do with us, right? So they put us in this place and, gave us obviously huge amounts of drugs. And the thing that amazes me is for 3 years, I went to this place. Even in the summer times, I had my own driver that came and picked me up, not only from school, but from my house. His name was Mr. Reeves. He used to, I remember everything so clearly. But when it comes to getting to the Mariposa Day School, and I even know where it is, right? It's just a house in a really strange place in Denver, or where it was. And I know exactly where it is. It's on Mariposa Street. And I cannot remember anything. I can remember everything going up to the door of that house. But once I get to the other side of the door, I can't remember anything at all about that place. And for 3 years, I went there. That freaks me out, man.
Yeah, it freaks me out because I went in through Denver public schools and everything, and Denver. Okay, and think about it. Stop and think about it a little bit. They were administering Dexies at a school
to kids, man.
To kids, right? Okay. No, I went and I looked it up through, and this is through Denver public schools. But there's a problem here that Denver public schools they don't have it historically listed as one of their schools. They have no records of the school, and his parents, his sisters of Mariposa Day School. His parents remembered it. His sisters remembered it. He remembered it perfectly. And when I went into the records and everything and talked to people there, nobody could tell me anything. They have records of that time frame of the yin yang, but they do not list that as one of their schools then.
I wonder if you would remember anything, Bob, if you walked back through that doorway.
I wonder too.
We drove by it.
We drove by it.
Would you if you had the chance?
Go inside? Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I would. I remember. It's so weird because it was right across the street from a park that had a swimming pool. I remember everything about that park when you go swimming there, but I cannot remember what the hell went on behind those doors at all.
And again, this is a house. It's not a school. He went to school at a house in a public school district, at a house where
both in summer and school season, both for 3 years, 4th, 5th, and 6th grade.
Wow, that's
weird
wild.
Shit. Yeah. So that bothers me. I've always known. Yeah. I've always known it was a little different.
Well, the idea that some people have no memory of their childhood completely, like at all, and it's not just trauma based. Oh, there were some things going on. It's just like I don't know. To me, the details that I can recall, and when you said that earlier about the twins talking to each other in the womb, I mean, crazy stuff, but there are things that flash back even to me that seem to recall that time period. And this idea of don't forget. Oh, I'm getting chills telling you this shit. But the idea that you now brought up with this whole thing kind of does, I mean, Zach's talked about the demole. Is that the right name? No.
Demole.
Group contacting him. Now here you are with this group, and it seems like, is it possible that through all of the crap that we've talked about, the bloodline stuff, the RH factors, the genetic crap that they've obviously been keeping up with us on through various forms of medical, whatever. And they're looking for certain bloodlines, certain types of chemical makeup of the body. And you were talking about, the electromagnetic realm. I mean, add all this up, and maybe there are just certain people who are different that will find these truths, that will feel things differently, that will look at things differently, that won't accept the party line, that won't just toe the line and follow the norm. And that's the ones that definitely want to either get into some kind of program like they were trying to get Zach into, or school in some kind of way that definitely either potentially hinders, or in your case, obviously would seem to have helped with the truth quest. So I don't know. I'm kind of rambling about all this because I grew up with the whole idea of church. That was my grandfather, Baptist preacher. I literally crawled around under the pews in the church as a child. That was what I was raised with. And there was this whole weird thing that was not normal about a lot of it that always creeped me the fuck out.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know. Just a lot of, I don't know. I'm kind of rambling now.
Well, and Walt, it gets even weirder later in life. And I'll have to tell you this probably offline. I don't want this going out there, but there were some incidents that happened much later in life that should have never, ever, ever, ever happened. And they did. And that's all I'm really willing to say about this at that point in time.
That's
and
cool.
and
you know my number.
yeah, no doubt, because I really do, and that concerns me, and I think that's one of the reasons why I'm so interested in consciousness study. Maybe I'm partially wondering what it is that happened to me, or what makes me see things the way that I do. And the great thing about this community is I find the people in this community aren't so different from me, and I take a lot of comfort
There's a
in
whole
that.
lot of folks that are just like this, right? Either like school, something about school is always a little different. Maybe they got put advanced some classes, I was reading the whole book when the kid, first grade teacher was like, well, just go draw. You're through with first grade reading. So go back in the back and go draw.
Yeah.
So it was always that kind of thing as well, with the little different, little exceptional, little out of the norm, and definitely keep an eye on that one.
In elementary school, they used to send us down, me and 3 other people, to the special ed students, and we would help them with their math work because we were just so far advanced in math. I had a sister that was 3 years older, so I was helping her with her math homework like when I was in first grade. A lot of flashcards on trips and stuff like that, and it just stuck in my head. I knew math well. But yeah, they would send us, me and the 3 other students, we'd go down and help the special ed kids for because they'd give us an hour to do the work or something like that. And we'd all be done in 10 minutes. So it was like, yeah, we need to find something for these children that just are exceptional at math to do.
Yep. Hey, you guys want to know another idea for a guest?
Yeah, please.
That I was thinking of is, Cami, who was it that we were talking to that night? The astrologers.
That was Mari and Hank and
and their friend, the
and their friend. I know
astrologer.
that's why I'm trying to get the name. I'm trying to. You can't do this to me.
I know.
Crap,
Well, anyway,
we definitely need to do that.
These people are astrologers, right? And they're the serious kind of astrologers, the ones that I talk about. The ones
absolutely.
that when they know what they're doing and they totally understand the energetic nature of this universe, and they have thoroughly studied the ancient texts basically that talk about what these energies mean at the time that you're dominant and all this stuff. The way that they can break things down and be so specific just blows your mind, right?
Yeah, I didn't want to know more. After I saw my chart, they were gonna explain everything to me and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, I don't know if I want to know this, you know.
Dude,
I don't know if I want to hear this.
I did want to know, and I did want to know, and they said, well, do you want to go into your medical issues that you're going? And I don't really want to talk about that. And because they identified that I was having this issue. And I'm like, wow, that's absolutely amazing. You know, it's just floors me. So people like that, you know, and again, when the mainstream craps on it, there's usually something very much to it, right? Millionaires don't use astrologers, billionaires do, right?
And that was in 1906 when there wasn't, you know, not like today where there's quite a few more billionaires. This is when, you know, a billionaire, maybe what, a couple handfuls maybe back then.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, and I've always been fascinated by stuff like that. But anyway, these people are amazing, and they would be excellent guests. They probably are more suited for Iron Realm than Globebusters, but they are flat earthers. They totally understand the Earth is flat.
I see Cammy's trying to get the info there with Karen B. We're going to find them for sure.
Yeah, I met Mari at my first Flat Earth in Denver, the first convention I went to. She was there. Yeah, we hit it off.
They're amazing. I mean, and I had come across people like that before, but every time you get a reading like that by somebody that really knows what they're doing, it is one of the most profound experiences. You're just like, how the hell did you know that? You know, and I'm talking about very specific stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how do you even glean that out of it? I mean, what even makes you think of that? And they're just like, well, they tried to explain it to me, but I don't get it. But wow.
That's the kind of thing I would love to do on the air.
Mm-hmm.
And just lay it all out there and see how much of it's actually accurate.
Well, I can tell you from my experience, they're nuts on.
Because I don't know there's anything where I'd be like, yeah, don't talk to me about that. I think just out of just pure curiosity, I'd have to hear what they had to say.
So I think you would enjoy it, and it would make a very, very entertaining show.
Heck yeah.
Well, maybe we can do mine then. I mean, live. They've already done all the work and everything and written it all down. When they had the interview, I was like, I don't think so. I don't want to.
Oh, God, Zach, I would want to know if I were you. Totally.
I know, right? But
yeah, I mean, my chart was pretty interesting. A lot of the stuff it said on there just blew my mind.
Yeah, and Jaren's was, I mean, Jaren's chart was so unbelievable, my son Jaren, that they actually had to call in all of their, consultation people. And it's like, holy cow, look at this guy, right? And it very much reflects how much of an exceptional person Jaren is. And it's right there written in the stars. It's amazing.
That's awesome.
And see, that also makes me think back to this whole thing of the bloodlines and the moving this forward to the next generation. Things that our kids are going to do, both with the knowledge that we're hoping to instill, but also with just the fact that we've met and hopefully are with the person that works. And this, like you and Cam have created this beautiful person. My son Quentin is an amazing being. Kids are going to be the ones who take this forward. So just that idea of this whole thing being monitored almost in some way. I'm trying to remember the book, man, that was talking about this very thing, how these people, these beings, these whatever the hell you want to call them, literally guided this lady and her husband together through their lives so that they would meet up and become a couple and have kids. Oh, it was the Copley Woods book. It was Bud Hopkins with Debbie Jordan, the lady I did the interview with years ago, and then she actually came back on here and did one with us about her latest electro voice phenomena stuff she does, where she had been abducted, and these beings had, like I said, guided her and her husband literally through their lives together, and now they have had these kids that are just next level children. So I don't know.
Yeah, crazy.
So Bob, her
Crazy
name
shit,
is
man.
yeah.
The name, you have it.
Yeah. Erin. Her person was Erin. It was Mari and Hank, which Hank is flat earth hippie and Mari, and then her name was Erin. I'm trying to remember her last name, but it is Erin. I'm looking through on the notes. Nothing, Bob.
Yeah.
Nothing. You're gone.
Oh shit. Oh no, I'm not on mute. Can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you now. Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember her. Absolutely. I think they'd be great guests. Really do.
Mhm. And on that note, I think we should be talking about finishing it up because
Yes,
it's
3
9:30, 3 hours.
It's been great. Thank you for coming and hanging out with us again, Bob. So much.
Oh, no problem. I always have fun when I do it. It's great. I don't feel like I have the pressure to keep the ball rolling, which is
You
really
don't
nice
have
for
to,
me.
for sure, man. You definitely can let your hair down here without a doubt. And then, truly, man, anything else that you want to talk about, you can always reach out to me, reach out to us. It definitely won't have to go on the air or any of that. So, no, sometimes this stuff digs in and things get a little Band-Aid pulled off, and suddenly there's interesting things going on in the night. Let's just say that.
Mm-hmm.
So just, we're here.
Yeah,
I'm here.
absolutely. I think you'd be interested in hearing what happened to me in my late teens in the military and my encounters with the alphabet agencies afterwards.
Oh yeah, we need to talk. We need to talk because yeah.
But I'm not a shill, guys.
That's right. None of that.
But there is something weird going on there. There's no doubt about it, and I don't know what it is, and that's what really bothers me. So there you have it. Now I can just hear the trolls are going to go.
I was
nuts.
going to say they're going to eat this shit up right now.
Oh, he admitted it. He's
That's
a CIA operative.
Look, the way we started this with some of the conversational topics we had, we were just throwing around willy nilly. This may not even be on the air when we get off. So who knows?
Let's see here. Plutonium.
Plutonium.
Say it
Nucleoid.
All
right, chat. Thank you a lot. I have completely ignored chat tonight because it was such a great show. I did type a few things in there and say hey to a few folks, send some information. Definitely be here next week, guys, for Jerry and crew. I saw you there, Backwards World, talking about some of your dealings with the shadow people. So definitely be here, man. It's a great guest when he's here. So lots of good information, and he's planning on dealing with things in chat.
Big shout out to Cold Brews. Big shout out to Insane Irby as well. And backwardsworld.jg. Love it. It's great to see everybody in chat. Yeah, big shout out to all you fine folks out there.
Tom, thank you for the tip over there as I was going back to Rock Band and say bye.
Thanks, Tom Buddha. I know I do hop over there on occasion.
Me too, and he also took my advice and checked out Thief, that movie with James Caan, and dug it a lot. Thank you, brother. I love that movie.
Yep, he liked the ending as well. Let's see what else. I did see Mike D in chat asking for a little bit of advice. And Mike, if you're still listening, I did drop you a link to a YouTube video. Check out this concept called crop steering. And that's basically what we're doing. Like when you're running photo periods at 18 and 6 and you're like, all right, I'm ready to flower my plants, and you switch it over to 12 and 12. That's considered crop steering. And there's lots of different ways you can steer your crops. And nutrients are one of those ways that you can encourage some of those bud tops to kind of pop out. And then once those buds start growing, there's things, different nutrients you can introduce even organically that will encourage big, thick, dense buds. I mean, just like even higher phosphorus in your flowers during your flower stage, or it's going to benefit those buds at the end. And slowly working out your was it magnesium, I think, because you don't really need magnesium, but in veg, not so much in flour. So again, there's little things you could do to steer your crop for optimal bud growth. So I did drop that link. Check that out. There's all sorts of videos out there on the different ways you can steer a crop. Mine are doing good. The beans that I popped 2 months ago on the full moon, I chopped on Wednesday on the full moon. So David M should be proud. We'll see. I'm still not entirely sure exactly which ones they were. They did flower automatically, so I don't know. That threw me off. But he's doing good. Had a bit of an emergency where we needed to rush her to the vets. Here's the thing about rabbit ownership. You don't take a rabbit to just a normal vet, you see, because a normal vet goes to veterinary school to become a veterinary doctor, and they learn about the cats and the dogs, and they specialize real good in the cats and the dogs, but it's about as far as they go. So really, a bunny vet is considered an exotic pet veterinarian. And they like to charge a little more because that requires a little extra schooling.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, look how many species of animals there are, you know, and that title of veterinarian kind of encompasses all of them. So, yeah, I say it's probably ultimately overall more complex than being a human doctor.
I think veterinary only really encompasses like the main cats and dogs. Everything else is then considered exotic. That's
really?
why.
Well, I mean,
rabbits are domesticated bunny rabbit for a house. A pet bunny is considered an exotic animal. It needs an exotic vet to treat it.
Yeah, but what if you had like a pet lizard or something? Who would you take that to? I wouldn't go to a medical doctor. I'd think a vet, but I don't know.
But most vets probably don't know a whole lot about that. They would require a special, whether it's a reptile vet or an exotic pet, an exotic vet who would know more about. So how is
Binky doing?
Binks is doing wonderful. Turns out there wasn't an ear infection. There were no ear mites. There was no broken cartilage. We had just misjudged the breed, I think. And she's probably, at least in part, lop-eared. So she's just going to have ears that hang down. That's just apparently the kind of breed she is. And there was no emergency whatsoever. Everything was fine.
You know, something that's interesting. When you talk about this being a breed thing, I think it's interesting because when Minion got hurt, right, and we took him in, and basically the vet said, well, yeah, it's this neck thing. It's common with the breed, and it started me thinking about, you know, what's taught in the Bible, and basically a Shih Tzu is not a breed that I guess was ever one of the base breeds. I would imagine you have base breeds, and so man has kind of played God and you know intermixed the breeds.
Yeah.
And so because it wasn't the perfection of the original, you know, breed, that these little errors in the DNA crop up, and
lots
therefore
of hip
medical
issues
problems
in these dogs, lots of breathing issues in these dogs.
Well,
even
these bunny rabbits.
It's also, they're purebred, right? So they never really. It's like sleeping in your own family line.
Exactly, it's like the royals.
And
cousins.
Yeah, but that's supposedly a good thing, right?
Yeah.
Well,
except for
you start getting a like fourth generation dog. I lived out in the country of Indiana, and some of these people just don't care. And you start finding their jaws are all messed up, and I mean they're deformed dogs. They are. It looks like there was definitely something like they were almost beaten to death.
Is it kind of like a Habsburg? What's it called? A Habsburg chin, Cammy? That a lot of the elites have, this weird ass looking chin that sticks chin, way out. Yeah. Habsburg chin, I think. And that's something that
you say that, because these dogs that I saw, it was always their lower jaw that was all jacked up and messed up.
And think about even how they do it in cartoons, how they portray them. You know, like the Simpsons, you have the bottom tooth guy, right? Or these guys that talk like this, you know, their jaws sticking way out.
Jaw sticking way out.
I mean, and so I had no idea. I had no idea that was an actual real thing. You know, who were those kids? They were the kids that did the song that we really like. Which one? Yeah, the 46 and 2 song by those kids. You know that?
Oh yeah.
The little girl that's the lead singer for that. she has a Habsburg chin. And it's like, I had no
noticed.
idea.
I'll have to go back and watch.
She totally does. And it's like, Cammie told me, well, that's a genetic trait from inbreeding. And I'm like, really? I didn't know that. And it's like, yeah, that's where a lot of these weird things come from, is from the elites inbreeding and stuff like that. So anyway.
Well, it's interesting because with the rabbits, it's the exact opposite. Almost all the domesticated bunny rabbits apparently have been bred with chinchillas. And apparently they can breed that way. That's why you'll find, that's why I think they have a lot of light sensitivities and a lot of the weird traits that some of these rabbits get, because they've been bred with chinchillas.
Mm-hmm. Amazing.
Weird
stuff. All right, guys. Well, I'm out of here.
Bob.
I'm gonna let you close the show down. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. Thank you for being here, man. Love you,
all right. We'll see you later.
Yep. We'll see you on Sunday, Bob.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey, real quick, I completely blew it. I have gone back up and saw I highlighted something earlier, and this is way back, I know, but apologies to John Keeling. He had reached out, said he lives in San Diego near a gravity hill, Spring Valley, and it's a real thing, and offered to call in and tell us about it, but we got sidetracked. So thank you, John. We appreciate you being here, and definitely are intrigued about these magnetic hills. I can't wait to see what you guys come across if y'all go see that one near you, Zach.
2 hours and so many minutes. Yeah, we could probably do that one of these days.
Well, thank you all again. It was great. Paul, you're out there somewhere, brother. Thank you for being here.
Much love, man.
We will get you back in here way sooner than this last time, because you got more goodies I want to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
What else? Get here next week for Jerry. Be here on the 5th for Campbell. Autodidactic. And then possibly Mike Stellium 7 will be here on the 29th. We're not sure. We'll let you know before then for sure.
And I do believe whatever strike that they had given us for that show originally that got us knocked off to our backup channel, I think they removed that strike recently, but I think they left the one that you
that's why I went and said that, because it's like, why is this still here? And that goes through September. I'm like, what is this bullshit? So I told them what the hell it was, and we'll see how that all plays out. Fucking Chris Gio's ass. Anyway.
Yeah, again, there's some notice there that need to be given, I think, just out of personal responsibility for no other reason.
Yeah, it's fucking got ridiculous. Anyway, sorry. Love you guys.
Love you guys. You all. We will see you right back here next week for more Have No Sphere, right here on the Ironworx Media YouTube channel. Find us also Tuesday and Friday mornings, all sorts of places. We'll just leave it at that. You do the search on a Tuesday or Friday morning, 4 a.m. Central. There's not too many people that are going live at that ungodly hour. I can promise you that. No, you shut your face. That's not what I wanted. I think this is the one that I wanted. Something.
Happy Friday, my friend.
There we go. How about it?
Happy Friday, my friend.
Love you guys.
Love you guys. We'll see you next week. Always a pleasure.
Love y'all.
Enjoy your weekend. I know I'm going to do my absolute best. Shit, I might have to actually work in the morning now that I'm talking out loud. Better text my boss and see. Otherwise, see you next week, guys. Be good. Be well. Bye-bye.
Josh?